ध्यान देना
Good afternoon, everybody.
सेंटर पकड़ना
All right, let us start. We can't wait for their attention. Okay. Well, my name is Deepika Valyan. I am the Development and Recognition Associate Manager International Baccalaureate, and I welcome the whole panel, uh, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves in turn. Thanks. I welcome the whole panel to discuss on a very important topic, the skill education in school. But before we begin, I want to share my thoughts on the same subject. Around the world, everyone from government, business, businessmen, economists, education, parents, teachers, they're all talking about what are the skills that our children need to succeed in the future. Some of us say that we know the answer, we might know the answer, but consider that one third, it is like 2/3 of our children will be doing the job that do not exist currently. In 2016, the World Economic Forum listed the whole skills those that are required in this very complex, globalized, and never-changing world. The skills the skills listed were the 21st century skills, and they listed it in two categories. First are the hard skills, the normal reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are what we call as the hard skills. But more notable skills were the soft skills, the social skills, and creative skills, such as leadership, grit, tenacity, resilience, collaboration, communication. And these are the skills that are actually, which we call soft skills or non-cognitive skills, but these are actually valued in from classroom, playroom to boardrooms. And well, it is unfair to say these skills as soft skills or calling them cognitive skills, considering the fact that to be a communicative person requires a lot of complex neural processes. So I would like to open this panel to discuss about the skills. And my first question, and while I ask the question, please introduce yourself as well. My first question goes to Ms. Shiba. Ms. Shiba, please introduce yourself very quickly and also tell us what are your views on the skills that are needed to be developed in today's learners and tomorrow's workforce.
Great, thank you so much for this opportunity. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Education Excellence Conclave for inviting us and organizing such a mega event. I'm sure after the lockdown, it's the first time that all the educators are assembled together, and such a wonderful response that we've got for this particular initiative taken up by the organizers. Thank you so much. So just a brief about myself. My name is Shiba Thapar, and it's been 25 years I've been into education sector, worked with schools across pre-primary, secondary, taught maths 11 and 12 in my years of experience, and at present I'm heading a pre-primary and a daycare school with the name of Sacred Step Experiential Learning School, which has just been operational, in the past 3 months, and as on today our strength is 200. So that shows how much of a demand of the child education is towards the parents. Especially COVID, has given us an opportunity. Post-COVID, because the children were all stuck, and as rightly coming to your question about the skills, I would believe that now then the children, after 2 years of staying at home, then they are all stuck at their home. One of the learning gaps that we are observing with these small children is that, they are having speech-related issues, they are having socializing issues, they are having such learning gaps that they're not able to share their belongings to each other. So I think that gives us an insight about how much crucial it is that we all have to work together so as to make our future generation, it has to be, as you have rightly said, the work jobs that are in the future that will be requiring another 10 years to go. I think 60% of the jobs that we are doing right now will not be prevalent. And that's again, a big question for us as to what are the skills which are going to be important for us. So, looking at that aspect, I think it's going to be more of the skills that will be requiring the AI, the more of communication skills. I think that is the most and the foremost thing that we are working towards our children here in school. Communication skills. One and the most important skill that I would right now be focusing upon. Of course, there are many skills which would be required for the current generation. That is the skill to handle the pressure, because this generation has seen pressure with their parents, they've seen pressure with their school. They've been on the online mode, they've not been given a natural way that we and in past generations have seen that. So I think it's more of handling the pressure, that is, the stress which is there, that they've been all, when they were born, they were just going through that pressure. So I think that's the foremost thing. And of course with that, managing the time, which is very important. We were supposed to start our session at 2:40 and it's 4:45 right now. So I think that's the foremost thing, that how to manage the time, that is going to be there. And to be very honest, I think these skills are always there, and it's very also to understand that these skills are important with the generation, because they've been all talking about marks, and with the new NEP, I'm sure the educationists have also kind of deviated their time frame, that that's the skills are more important than the grades with the current generation. So I think I'll sum up with my other fellow panelists here. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. Time management is an important skill, definitely. And skills are, you don't just learn skills in a day. These skills are habits ultimately, and it takes time to develop them. My next question is from Ms. Ritika Bhandari, and I want to ask you, can you give us a real-time practical example that how the skills are mapped in your curriculum, and how in your assessment at your school, the whole assessment policy of your schools, the assessment is not only of academics but also benchmarking the skill development?
Thank you, ma'am, for this question, and thanks a lot, greetings of the day to everyone. I hope everybody is listening, even at the back. Am I audible at the back? Yeah, your attention. So the question is about skill development, and I think that's a very important thing, because we are talking about NEP, we are talking about backless days, we are talking about interns, and we want our children to develop skills, vocational skills, specifically soft skills. A lot of discussion has already been there. So what is required now? This question is from all of you. You are all school leaders. What is the main thing required if I want to introduce vocational studies in my school? Anyone? I would love to hear it from you. Or from the panel. What do you think is the most important? My question is, I want to introduce vocational studies in my school. What is the main challenge? The mindset, because we talk of giving vocational training to our students about maybe they are plumbers or carpenters or electricians, but then the mindset of the stakeholders, specifically the parents. So the most important thing is that we have to organize workshop for the parents to make them understand it. This we have started in our school. Don't wait for NEP implementation that you have to send a report from your end that you have done this thing. But I think right from beginning, if we start taking up these examples, then building up competencies, align your curriculum with the real life scenarios. This is required, and this as a chemistry teacher I am doing. I am teaching antioxidants, and I tell my children to find out food products where they can find antioxidants. If I am teaching electricity, I am giving them a numerical, not from the book, but to find how much electricity is getting consumed when they are running an AC or a refrigerator. So if I am trying to give them opportunities where their competencies are being built up, and even in assessments also, give them assessments which are peer assessments, give them assessments where they are cooperating, collaborating, and then coming up with something so that it's 360 degree what we are looking for anything. So this is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rupika. So you need to say, I'll take this question again from one of the other panelists, but my third question goes to Ms. Zeba. Ms. Zeba, again, practical example for our audience. How in a classroom practice can anyone see that skills are at the center of your teaching and learning?
Thank you, Deepika ma'am. I'd rather not to sit, I can speak. Practical skills, before I start with this, answer this question, I will share one beautiful incident happened with me in my classroom. Some of the students asked me, ma'am, if you are fully equipped with digital skills and all, so why you are working here as a school teacher? She asked me this kind of thing. I was shocked a little bit, but I calmly and politely answered her question. First, I share one thought with her, like नज़र को बदलो तो नज़ारे बदल जाते हैं, नज़र को बदलो तो नज़ारे बदल जाते हैं, सोच को बदलो तो सितारे बदल जाते हैं, कश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं, कश्तियाँ बदलने की ज़रूरत नहीं, दिशा को बदलो तो किनारे खुद ब खुद बदल जाते हैं. So this is my thought for my students. So after this, they said, yeah ma'am, true you are speaking. I told them, like, if we not here, so who will shape you? Who will nurture you for the future, for your betterment of the future? Who will like make you stand in future? So they said, yes ma'am. Then I thought of one interesting thing in my class, what I have done with my class. I told my students, okay, I can't teach you in the class. You just paint a thing, take out a paper and put the things what you like to become in the future. So after my class, I collected all the papers and see that what they have made. Like one of the students, she's standing with a car. I asked why you are standing with a car. What is the thought of in your mind? Ma'am, I want to become an automobile engineer. So if I not pursue, I'm not getting good marks, I'm not getting a admission in IIT, so what should I do? I said, okay, we do some workshop with you for the automobile engineering. There are certain courses going on for vocational things like DTU is doing. Even we have bachelor degrees in different colleges. So they are providing vocational courses for automobile engineering also. So after that, after rigorous, I came upon with this idea. I put all this discussion points in front of my management with rigorous discussion of 2 months with parents, experts, mentors, students, and along with some experts from various organizations, we come up with a small incubation center in our school. We have already set up. We are working for the last 5 years for this incubation center. So now we have divided this incubation center into 3 societies. We have student entrepreneur, we have Avenger Society, we have Harry Potter Society. Because one of the students asked me, ma'am, I want to become a magician, but my parents are not allowed. So I told, okay, we counsel your parents, we are having experts with you, we do this kind of thing. You will definitely become one of the greatest musicians in this whole world. So she said, okay ma'am, thank you for giving me guidance and support for you for just motivating words. So this kind of thing happening in our school. So we all are equipped with mechanical equipments, electrical equipments, we have 3D printers, we have everything equipped, fully equipped with our this incubation centers. So lastly, I'm not taking so much of time. This I I want to show you a live example of my student. She has created. This is what you are curious about. This is what. This is nothing. This is a piece of a plastic. No, this is not a piece of plastic. This is made by 3D printer, and this is a mobile holder. It can hold a mobile. This is printed by my student self using a 3D printer. She know how to print these kinds of objects from the 3D printers. So I just want to show you this thing. This type of thing, this is the way it holds the mobile. This is the mobile holder, she made it itself. So lastly but not least, I would like to share one thing with you. How do, as educators, we grow? We grow when our institution grow. When our institution grow, the education grow. The education grow, the students grow, and the student grows, the nation grow, and ultimately we grow. So this is the last thing that I will do. I rest my speech over there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eva. Thank you so much. And wow, I can imagine the kind of skills your students are developing when they're getting these opportunities. Vikram, my next question is for you. Can you enlist for our audience the skills that are envisioned to be developed in the learners or students as per the NEP 2020?
So, thank you to the organizer and thank you to the panelists as well for sharing their views on the skills piece here. Clearly, with the NEP 2020, there is a lot of thrust by the government to ensure that the teaching and learning, when I say teaching, comes with the fact that what you are teaching, how you are teaching. And when I talk about learning, it is largely the thrust with respect to what is the learning outcome for an individual who is going through the schooling and the entire education system. So from an NEP point of view, if you look at what and how, from a teaching perspective, what is more about the pedagogy and the content which is used in terms of teaching, and how is about how you are delivering that content to ensure that there is a learning outcome. So from a what point of view in terms of if we look at the pedagogy, largely the NEP puts a lot of emphasis on ensuring that the learning or the delivery or the pedagogy should focus more on experiential by doing stuff. The example which ma'am just shared with us, that if you look at the history, largely we have been doing, we have been actually imparting a lot of teaching with respect to rote learning and all. But now the focus is largely on how we can develop experiential learning where actually the student can learn on the go with respect to what is being taught. Other aspect from a perspective of content, largely if you look at, the focus is more on how to ensure that a student is learning the collaborative skills, teamwork, the communication in an effective way. Because eventually, if you look at from now till next 20 years in the future, the era would be where it will be man and robots. So you will be working with robotics, and aside you, there will not be people. There will be robot who will be talking to you, and you will be delivering the kind of value to the system. Other important fact from a learning outcome point of view, if I have to talk about skills, a very important trust has been put in with respect to ensuring that the students learn ethics in a big way. To ensure that in the future they can be compassionate about those things which are very valuable, the ethical standards, the compassion, as well as the care. I feel that these learning outcomes are really, really important from an NEP point of view. And with this teaching and learning methodology which has been introduced by NEP, there is a lot which needs to be done. It is still on the paper, we have to walk the talk, and institutions will have to do a lot of work in ensuring that they deliver those skills which are relevant, which are for the 21st century, and which will help the students to become a good human being and a good citizen of the country.
Thank you, Vikram. Very well said. So Preet, I want to ask you, we are already 20 years into the 21st century, we are in 2022, right? So 2 decades into the century, and we're still talking about developing 21st century skills. Isn't it a little bit of, disappointment? What do you think are the barriers? What were the barriers that these skills couldn't be developed as quickly, as early as possible? And how also in a school you see the role of triangulation between parents, teachers, and students to ensure that these barriers are lifted?
Thank you for asking that. I think one thing that we all will have to acknowledge sooner or later is that as educationists, as parents, as a society, we have always lived in a format where we have, taken students or in general public saying that your marks define you. Our education structure has been defined by marks for all this time. Even today, we are just stepping to make it different. We have not landed up anywhere. So when you say 2 centuries and we still are able to do the 21st century skills in the right manner, that is because of the fact that this is evaluating people on the fact that this is an ITN, this is an MBA guy, this is a person who is from MIT Pune. We are not still evaluating and judging people on how good are their team leadership skills, collaboration, communication, their digital knowledge, how good they are at empathizing, how good they are at working with their peers. When as a society we are going to move down and say that yes, education is important, but along with that it is a practical implication of it that's going to count more, that's when the change will come in. How can schools do it? I think schools have to become transparent to their parents. Till the time as schools we do not acknowledge the fact that there has to be an open dialogue between the head of the school, the child that's studying in the school and the parent, and understanding the needs of those children. As an administrator, as a head of the school sitting here or in a school, we cannot decide and say, I'm going to do these 5 things. I'm going to do plumbing, I'm going to do carpentering, or I'm going to have robotics or coding, and this is what my children will learn. That will not help. When we open the doors to our children and we say that what is that you want to do, and we give them the opportunity of doing that, that is going to help. The time when we actually help our children to have a multicultural society, when we start celebrating each and every festival of this country with the same happiness, with the same pomp and show into our schools and getting our children to get involved in it from different regions and backgrounds, letting them do their teamwork, that is when the change will come. The advantage of being in 100% online school, cycle school for me is that I have children from 27 states and UTs. So we have children from every single region that we can have. Therefore, we have all of the places. I do not have the barrier of saying that I can have only this much of staff because my staff comes from everywhere. But at the same point of time, I will say the moment we realize that the 4 C's that are the pillar of skill development have to be collaboration, communication, your commitment towards work, ensuring that you have digital learning is going to be very, very important. However hard we feel, we are not making robots, but we are definitely moving to a time when digital learning is going to play a very, very crucial role in the life of children. And then the third pillar of skill development is actually knowing your social needs. So as parents, as teachers, as administrators, as head of schools, when we are ourselves unable to pick up our bags at 5 p.m. and say our day closes, how are you expecting your children to know the difference between professional life, personal lives, needs, happiness, So we will have to portray it. So it's going to be a 360-degree change that is going to come, but I'm sure with the way we are working and the way our youth is working towards further, that can come when you have open channels of communication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very well identified why there are the barriers. It's actually our social fabric itself. All right. Next question is from Dr. Nair. Dr. Nair, I want to ask you, within a classroom, how do you think the agency given to the students for learning will actually help them develop the skills?
Thank you, Deepika. When we started the session, you have asked me to introduce yourself as well as then start the program. So, my name is Dr. C.S. Nair. I have been working as the corporate strategist in the corporate world for 35 years. Currently, I am heading the skills and capacity building platform as the Dean of Silver Life Research School. Now, when it is coming to whether it is a student or a teacher, in Indian education industry, as far as I know, there are only two things. There are only two things that works, where the people will be asking answers for. That is the how part. How is it happen? How will it happen for the teacher, as well as what is in it for me, for the student as well as for the teacher. So, as far as the student agency is concerned, for your question, and if I have to answer, the willingness to learn is to be created by the teacher in the student for giving the students to be involved. Student agency, if I go by the OECD principles, the student agency is saying in a 8-step ladder of starting it from a manipulation to a adulteration model of a student agency. I would suggest all of you to read that OECD document of student agency. Okay, then when it is coming to what is in it for me, it is completely to do with the progressive pedagogical practices that you can do in engaging the student for understanding what is in it for him. It is, I would really like to appreciate what Ritika has said, is that she is talking about an interdisciplinary skills and competency mapping framework, which is entered up into a lesson plan, which she is delivering in an execution mode, that she is relating how the child is being put onto an analytical thinking when she is talking about chemistry there. So this is the kind of agency students would be likely to involve. Otherwise, it becomes a lip service and a pen and paper or a theoretical thing. This is number one. Then in the panel in the morning also, they were talking about the involvement of parents also. I think Sukrit also was saying about this. So the parents also needs to be sensitized on this. Is that how the student engagement activities, the delivery, or in the morning somebody was talking about the financial part of it, is that when you collect fees, the person who is funding the education would also like to know that where is it getting spent. So you will have to tell the stakeholder is that for each penny that we collect, 70% of the involvement of the learning teaching process should be driven by the student or the beneficiary, direct beneficiary himself. This needs to be engaged. So this will come only through a proper pedagogical practices as well as putting more innovative practices or creative practices of teaching learning process, but ultimately they should answer the how part of it for the teacher and what is in it for me for the student. I hope I have been able to
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you so much.
Thank you so much. My next question goes to Ms. Monica. Ms. Monica, you are always in touch with students. What is there? What have you gathered from them? And what are the skills do they want to develop? Because I really think the future is there, and we just keep talking about their future. This is what you should develop. This is what you should develop. What do they wish to develop?
Thank you for asking, and a very good afternoon to all present here. And while introducing, I would say I'm a learner who's trying to find out new ways of learning and trying to share with other learners as well. And that is what we are doing here today. And all thanks to this conclave for bringing all of us together. I was here early morning and I heard all the panelists very sincerely, and I could take a lot of takeaways from all of them. So big thank you to all the previous panelists and my co-panelists who were amazing in sharing their thoughts. And while introducing to all the educators, I would like to say, सुंदर सुर सजाने के साज बनाता हूँ, सुंदर सुर सजाने के साज बनाता हूँ, नौसिखिए परिंदों को बाज बनाता हूँ, चुपचाप सुनता हूँ शिकायतें सबकी, चुप
चुपचाप सुनता हूँ शिकायतें सबकी, फिर दुनिया को बदलने के रिवाज बनाता हूँ। बनाए चाहे चांद पे कोई बुर्जे खलीफा, बनाए चाहे चांद पे कोई बुर्जे खलीफा, अरे मैं तो कच्ची ईंटों से ही ताज बनाता हूँ। नजूमी जोत छी छोड़ दो तारों को तकना तुम, नजूमी जोत छी छोड़ दो तारों को तकना तुम, क्योंकि है जो आने वाला कल उसे मैं आज बनाता हूँ। So all the wonderful organizations who are here with their products, with their services, I think they are helping us to make this come true, to address the problems of the present times and ensure that the future is brighter and better for everybody. And coming to the question, ma'am, I think children love to play. It's their prime most business. They love to engage themselves, they love to collaborate with each other, and something which is missing is they are too eager to share their own feelings that they miss out listening to their friends. At times there are some ego clashes, and you know, if you hear to Yuval Noah Harari, who is a famous Israeli author, who wrote the book 21 Lessons for 21st Century, and also a very nice book of Brief History of Tomorrow. He said in one of the interviews, and I remember and I quote here, that you know, this world just needs a transformation from ignorance to knowledge, from ignorance to knowledge, from greed to generosity, and from hatred to compassion. And these transformations, three transformations, have everything in classrooms, through engaging methods, through 21st century pedagogical skills. We have gamification nowadays and game-based education also. Teachers don't know what's the difference, we need to clear it out. We have project-based and problem-based and design thinking, three parallel things standing together and everybody feels it's the same, but it's not the same. Then we have flipped classroom also coming in, cooperative and collaborative learning. Both sound quite similar, but teachers get confused and there's huge difference between the two. So all these methods which 21st century skills or pedagogical tools are bringing to us, they are very, very, I would say, interesting means of engaging the students in classroom learning, and they assure a high rate of learning outcomes in every class, provided the teacher is passionate to learn that. And that can only happen if every organization is having teachers. I'll just first classify the kind of teachers we have in our schools. Please don't mind my words. It's a hard reality. And any organization we see on this earth has three kinds of employees. The very first category is oxygen thieves. The ones who are always looking for faults and reasons and complaints and criticizing and condemning. This is not right, that is not right. So what they do, they try to suck the oxygen from and make everybody else feel suffocated. So the ones who are working with a positive mindset tend to get influenced and start thinking negative. Oh, maybe she's right. I need to find a better place to work. They are not the right people to work with. Second, different careers category. A category, ma'am was also mentioning, who look at the clock and come inside the school, they look at the clock and go back. Oh, my duty was from 8 to 2, I'm done with it. Rest of the work I'll see tomorrow. And the third category is building blocks, who leave a legacy behind, who just don't see I'm a subject teacher, they see every aspect of the school. They see the playground, they see the reward system, they see the consequence system in the school, of the school. So they enter into every domain of and try to contribute their creativity and their passion. And they are the building blocks. And they leave behind a legacy for others to follow. Sorry. These are the employees who leave their marks in the institute. Even when they are not there, they are remembered by everybody. And that is what we have to do, ma'am. For all the engaging methods which I have listed, if the teachers are passionate and if leaders are able to transform every oxygen thief into a building block, I think there is no looking back, it's just walking forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My last question is for Jaspreet. Jaspreet, the industry person between us, and of course Vikram also. So Jaspreet, while I'm sure within the industry you are meeting on young freshers who are you hiring, what kind of skills do you find they do not have, which you think all our educators should take notice of and then start implementing or start building those skills into the school students?
I think that's a very interesting question because a lot of organizations who are mass hiring, in fact, were hiring directly from institutes and schools. They spend a considerable amount of effort, money, and time in training those students so that they can come to terms with what professional work is like. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that their core knowledge of the subject that they're in, maybe science, maybe commerce, maybe arts, they know that because the institutes present are teaching them. What they don't teach is how to get things done, the softer skills. Somebody mentioned, Shivana mentioned the softer skills. How to write an email, how to speak to somebody, when to put pressure, what kind of pressure can you put in, what are the variables that you can manipulate to get the work done. Because at the end of the day, in a corporate world, if the work is getting done, the 70-80% of performance, the 20-30 performance, bad performance is neglected. Now, my analysis of this situation is twofold. One is that a lot of those young children who are coming outside, coming into the workforce, they don't really know what they want to do. Speak ma'am said the same thing. And a big, I think a solution that can come up is that the education system currently is training children to learn a skill so that they can apply it in the industry to get money out of it. If we kind of change that outlook and say that we will introduce financial literacy so that you can earn money any which way, and then you can go on and do whatever you want to do. Ma'am also mentioned that. I think that's a different way of looking at the problem of education, which is currently a very different way. So the answer to your question, ma'am, is the softer skills are, I think, way more important because in an industry today, if you cannot learn a new skill in the 8-9 month period and become an expert into it, rather than spending 4 years and then putting it as a form of degree, you lose your edge, right? Anything that is not creation of content will lose out to AI. AI can make art, AI can make, in a span of time, we will have AI, sir mentioned, AI-enabled robots, which can do advocacy also, which is all about reading the book and quoting laws, right? So anything that we are not creating will go out of context in maybe 20-25 years. What will still remain is that problems cannot be solved by robots. We still need humans to do that. So if a generation understands how to solve problems and manipulate variables, I think that is the next step way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, with this we are ending the panel discussion as we are rushing. And our last message from this kit could be, like Ms. Preet mentioned, softer skills. And I mentioned that using the word soft for these skills is a bit unfair. These are very important skills, and these skills are equally important to develop the other literacy, reading, writing, etc. So thank you so much for being good listeners or not being good listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I will request everybody to stay on the stage, please. May I request Group Captain Ms. Rachna Sharma, Vice President Head and Heart, to give away the mementos. Group Captain Ms. Rachna Sharma, Vice President Head and Heart, to please give away the mementos. Meanwhile, Feroz sir, may I request you, sir, to please do the memento. Our first speaker, Ms. Zeba. Ms. Rutika Bhandari. Ms. Supreet Kaur. Ms. Deepika Valia. Ms. Sheba Thakur. Ms. Sheba Thakur. Ms. Monica Chhabra. Mr. Vikram Shah. Mr. Vikram Shah. Dr. C.S. Nair. Dr. C.S. Nair. So that just Preet Singh. Thank you, sir. May I now request Group Captain Ms. Rachna Sharma, Vice President, Head and Heart, to please come on the stage and do the honors. Ms. Zeva Ayers. Ms. Ritika Bhandari. Ritika Bhandari. Ms. Supreet Kaur. Ms. Deepika Walia. Ms. Deepika Walia. Ms. Sheba Thakur. Ms. Sheba Thakur. Ms. Monica Chhabra. Mr. Vikram Shah. Mr. Vikram Shah. Dr. C.S. Nair. Dr. C.S. Nair. And so that just Preet Singh. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you, ma'am, for doing the honors. Before we come to the last panel of the day, we have a little feature presentation by Cool Edsis. Meanwhile, I would request panel 6 to be ready.
अभी एक फूल ले लो और जो ड्राई फ्रूट
सही है
या हमारा घूमना देख के को तो दिक्कत नहीं है यार, जिसका काम है वही हमारा करता है यार।
There has to be speaker either on this side or on that side. So anybody who wants to speak, feel free to join me here. Otherwise, request you to be listeners, please. And I'm serious. Please be here, ma'am. May I just request undivided attention. Thank you. Once again, good afternoon, all of you. We had a small session before lunch, and then I was saying we all must be some hungry, so be able to clap, will not be able to cheer and all. But now I am very sure it's after lunch. But now don't say that after lunch you know, Harry, what happens, right? And that's why I instructed lights should not be turned off. Okay. And other thing, I have been preparing for a presentation which was for around 15 minutes. For last 4-5 days I practiced. I'll take around 20 minutes to finish it, right? I'll take extra 5 minutes. But just now, ma'am told me, Harry sir, 5 minutes से ज़्यादा नहीं लेंगे. You can understand what I am going through, right? क्या बताऊँ? पहले अपने प्रोडक्ट के बारे में बताऊँ या पहले दूसरा ज्ञान शेयर करूँ, right? But I request all of you to please be with me for next 5 minutes only. All of you, please. So what we are going to talk about is the digital transformation for schools, and believe me, I won't take a lot of time. Okay. Now, if you really want to stay relevant in today's world, I am very sure that all of you know what digital transformation is all about, right? And most of you must have taken either a small step or a big step and already moved towards digital transformation. Now, please understand the number which is 30 and 70, right? Now, this is important for all of you. Now, it's only 30% initiatives are successful and 70% of initiatives for digital transformation fail. And let's go through just why do they fail or how can you make it successful. One very good way to make it successful is again to listen to me rather than running another conversation on the circular tables there, please. So first of all, you need to have partners who have got the skills and the expertise in that area. Okay. So please, whoever is your partner there, make sure that they have the expertise and required skills in the area. Only then they would be able to make sure that they are enabling the digitization of your schools. Now, another thing is the budget. Before you go and start talking about digitizing your school, you have to make sure you set some budget. It is not that I am going to draw any line that you have to set a small budget or a larger budget. No. But whatever it is, please make sure you set that this is how much you are going to spend, let me say over the next 2 years to digitize your school. For some, digitization could just be that I will use the automated system to collect fees. For others, it could be that I am going to use the Vision API and record the behavior of students in the class. Okay, so it really varies and it depends upon your level of maturity or level of your school's maturity that what you want to attain. Also, when you are going to talk about the digitization, you have to also talk about what you want to prioritize. And few of you would choose that the efficiency of stuff. So it really depends up to you. But what I'm trying to tell you is please set it right that what you want to improve and where do you want to start from. Now again, I won't take a lot of time as it's cut off from 15-20 minutes to 5 minutes. Now for us, few of us, it could be fee collection, and for others it could be the operational productivity, and for others it could be improving the parents' experience. Now because when after the pandemic, it's already 2 years have gone by, and it's wonderful, a lot of movement is happening. A lot of students are moving from one school to the other school. I do not know how much how much you are aware of this fact that you can actually capitalize on this as well. So you can use digitization to collaborate better with your parents. Okay. Now I can skip that because it was actually talking about how much your partner, who is your digitization partner, can contribute to your success. Now this is how you measure this success, right? Now for a few of us, the ROI, which is return on investment, so let's say you have spent some money and now you want to make sure that you are able to get the benefits of that. For a small school or for a school which is moving very fast, they could even start it in less than 6 months. For a school which is actually big and you have a reason, they might have informed you in advance. Now, all of a sudden, what are you going to do? You are going to plan their duties. You are going to put someone else as a substitute. So a system lets you do it very easily. It will show you the list of teachers who are not there. It will show you their periods which are going to be missing. Once you click on a particular class, it will show you the teachers who are available, who are eligible, and it will also show you that today this teacher is having, let me say, only 2 free periods versus somebody else having 1 free period. So it enables you to take good decisions. And also once you have done the allocation, all your red converts into green. You click a button, all your substitutes will receive the communication. All the teachers who are absent will also receive the communication. You got one school level roster, put it somewhere where all teachers can refer to it and they understand. And also, the teacher app will have periods integrated into it. So as a teacher, when I look into my app and I want to see आज मेरी कौन सी duties हैं, I will be able to see oh आज तो मुझे let me say सुनीता मैम की class handle कर रही है. And also, as a principal, when you are allocating substitutes, you can define whether it is just a sit-in teacher or a teacher who is going to cover the syllabus. Okay. So syllabus coverage is also inbuilt into this. Okay, and these are some of the attributes which Cool Access take proud. Our system is extremely simple, and as I always say, and I tell it to my team also, that it is only simplicity which will survive. Anything which is not simple, which is complex, doesn't matter whether we are talking of a country or a language or a religion or anything. If it is not simple, it will not survive. Okay, हो सकता है मेरे से पहले आइंस्टाइन ने ऐसा बोला हो, but still. And second, we know that when we are talking of school ERP, we are talking about highly sensitive information. We are talking about data for the students. We are talking about data for your staff members, their payroll data. All this information, it is highly secure. It is secure to the extent that even our own team will not be able to access your data. Okay, and I can tell you that you are living in a country where these things are taken for granted. जहाँ पे data बिकता है, they would be working on the data that you have provided, and that would be available in the market. You won't know where the data is going from. So we make sure that your data is amazingly secure. And the system is attested. We have spent time with the teachers, with the principals, with the accounts, with the canteen, with the transport, with the vendors, with the parents, and only then we have created this system. Many times we have been to the board, we have cleaned up, written again, then we have cleaned up, then we have written again. So we have made sure that the system is very well behaving for you. Then it's when I say vision, because I know that in future what is going to come. So this system caters to all those aspects. It is based on the latest technologies and pay-per-use. I think it is very obvious nowadays. You don't know if somebody is still paying a lump sum amount and it goes into 4 digits, then please come and see me. Okay? Do come and see me if it goes into 4 digits, and I'm not going to charge for consultancy, don't worry. And when I say comprehensive, I think I've talked enough. that we are creating a comprehensive ecosystem which covers all aspects of the school. We are not here just to make money. एक fee system बना के दे दो पैसे कमा लो, ये part बना के दे दो पैसे कमा लो. No, we want to make sure that the system covers all aspects of a school. Okay. And insightful. I can give you a couple of examples of insightful. For example, when as a teacher you want to allocate duties, it will show you that which teacher is allocated what percentage. A teacher is allocated 40% versus 80%. Only then you allocate teacher. Also, there are many other aspects which are analytical in nature. I am not saying that you have to go to a separate dashboard and then find out the analytical information. We know the brain of a teacher when she is working on the system. We know the brain of a teacher, of a principal when she is looking at the dashboard, and we make sure that all analytical information is available right on their dashboards, on their screens. For example, if I am a teacher, I am taking the attendance, it will show me in red color a warning, ये वाला बच्चा ना कल नहीं आया. Now as a teacher you can either say कि बड़े क्या हुआ, you were not well, or you can say कि मतलब कहाँ थे भाई कल कहाँ थे, right? So we have incorporated all those things, and I just want to make sure. Are you asking me? Are you here? Okay. And very quickly, so it's a cloud-based system, and it's high performance. We have tested it for 20,000 schools in one go. Okay, 20,000 schools is a big number by any standards. Talking about the Indian school ERPs we are talking about. It is reliable. When I say reliable, we have ensured that the system is available 24/7 because it is deployed on the infrastructure which gives us the promise of 99.99. And those of you who are good at mathematics, they can understand the difference between 99 and 99.999. Find out in one single year how many times your system can go down if it is 99% versus 99.999. Scalable, I already talked about it, that the system is created in such a way that it can scale to anything. Anything means anything. That's why we have taken 3 years to create this system. I have seen companies which come into the market 6 महीने पहले बनाना शुरू किया और ये मार्केट है मैम, ये हमारा सिस्टम है, ले लो. I think I don't know how to sell. Maybe that's another reason why I've taken 3 years to build it. Okay, but then we have created a system where I do not want to accept anything less than wow. I'm not going to have screen captures because पीछे मैम खड़ी हैं, उन्होंने 2 बार स्टेज के ऊपर ऐसे पैर मार दिया है कि हैरी इट इज एनफ नाउ, प्लीज डोंट कंटिन्यू फर्दर. So with this, thank you team. If anyone is looking for this presentation, I would be happy to share this presentation with all of you, including my competitors. And it's a challenge that the system we have built is one of the best as far as school ecosystems are concerned. And due to unavailability of to talk a lot about it. I had lots of stories which I thought I would discuss with you. Thank you.
I know the next moment people see me, they're going to sew me up. Alright, I'm sorry, but that's a part of my duty. This program would not have been possible without the help of a few people who have come up and made it possible and created this platform for us. It's time to honor a few of the people, a few of the companies who've come up and shared equal kind of work and the pressure that we had. On the notion of honor, let me please welcome all those companies who've come ahead to make this event happen. May I invite Mr. Nayak sir, Mr. Jaiprakash sir, CEO, Madhur Education. Mr. Gagandeep Singh, please welcome them. Our sponsors from Scudos. Scudos. We would appreciate if you could please come up quickly. Jodo company, please come up on the stage. Head and heart. Head and heart. Receive the honors, please. The organization Head and Heart to receive the honors, please. Finance Bureau. Finance Bureau. Finance Bureau. Vizwara. Vizwara. Can we please be quickly on the stage? Altet. Somebody from Altet. Cool access. Mr. Harry with his team, cool access. Quickly, 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 run down the stage. ये जो लोग तालियां नहीं बजा रहे हैं ना, जब आपके अवार्ड आएंगे ना, कोई भी ताली नहीं बजाएगा, जोर से बजाओ। सबको अवार्ड लेके घर जाना है? See, yes or no? Yeah, clap for everybody, no? That's right, that's how everybody is clapping for you. Finance Bureau. Altet, anybody from Altet? ये हुई ना बात। Parul University. Parul University. K-12 Media. Parul University. PCTF, Altered, Altered. And guess who's the next one? Any guesses? Nepal University is done. It's the top room, yeah, it's me. Since morning I'm standing here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, up to ताली बजा दो, please. Thank you, sir. We have our panel 6 ready, the last panel of the day, and we move towards the awards. I know you're eagerly waiting for it. Just one more panel to go, and we move to the awards. Panel number 6. Can we have the chairs quickly? Can we please have the chairs quickly? Can we have the chairs on the stage quickly, please? Panel number 6. Can institute increase their quality of education without increasing the cost? We have our speakers all set, ready, waiting for their turns. The first speaker is Mr. Jaya Prakash, St. George Education Society with Hood Group. Dr. Anirudh Gupta, CEO, DCM Group of Schools. A.P. Sharma, Director, KVM Ludhiana, KVM School. Ms. Pratima Sinha, CEO, DSR Educational Society. Sandeepan Reddy, Founder, Synergy Group of Schools. Ms. Shalini Nambiar, Director Principal, St. Anandram Jaipuria School. Ms. Neeru Raj Joshi, Principal, BBPA School, Modi Nagar. Dr. Amrita Bora, Director Education, James Education India and James International School, Gurgaon. Daniel Curry, Director and Principal, Vega Schools. Kanak Gupta, Director, CED, MR Jaipuria Schools. And our moderator for the panel is Mr. Conclave Day.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Conclave. Very excited to be driving this discussion among so many academicians and administrators as well. We'll straight dive into the discussion for today. The topic of the discussion today is: can educational institutes increase the quality of education without increasing the cost? So let me just set some context. I think in the last decade or so, the way institutes have imparted education has changed dramatically. But at the same time, the costs have also increased. So it brings a pertinent question that is the fee amount or is the cost for the education justified in multiple ways? So I think what we would like to begin with is basically your thoughts on this. Maybe we'll start with Jayaprakash sir. And the first question, sir, would be, actually are cost and quality of education related in your mind?
Good evening, friends. This is what a teacher does. We all will do. I know, for a post-lunch session, this was the best topic. Because whenever we people hear about fees and whether it is justified or not, हमारी नींद टूट जाती है. तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि सबकी नींद अभी टूट गई होगी इस सवाल से, right? So पिछले पैनल में कुछ लोग शेरो शायरी कह रहे थे. इस विषय में भी मैं एक शेर से शुरू करना चाहूँगा. इरशाद है, बोलो भाई. ओके. जब जेब में पैसा होता है और पेट में रोटी होती है, जब जेब में पैसा होता है और पेट में रोटी होती है, तभी ये जर्रा हीरा है, तभी ये शबनम मोती है. So symbolically I have answered you, but still I'll go further. As you said, education has evolved. We all were taught the sun rises from the east and sets in the west, which means that the sun is moving and earth is stationary. है क्या? नहीं. Now we have come to a stage where we are very upfront telling the students the sun appears to be rising and appears to be setting, prompting them to ask why man appearing. Right? So it has changed that big. Whether you have a visual audiovisual aid or not, audiovisuals are all here. So we have to hire teachers of that level. After hiring them, we can't stop. We have to continuously train them. And gone are the days when we had 2 workshops for the sake of CBSE. that team building, stress management and whatnot. But now we go to subject, grade specific, topic specific, subtopic specific to because they are knowledgeable. Now how we, and then types of students. So we have going to that level, and we have all so many numbers of vendors here, advertising for themselves. The day all of them bring down their cost for the quality, we can also do that.
But sir, sorry, just to go up on that, how do you think is the correlation between cost and quality of education?
Simple. It is the quality. Quality means quality of education, the delivery. Wherein what we think is that a lot of, when a school says that tuition is not required if a child comes to my school, we have to stand by a word. But then tuition for some reason is a trend, is a fashion, is a fad. मेरा पड़ोसी का बच्चा जाता है, मेरा भाई का बच्चा जाता है, ये क्यों नहीं जाता? That's all. Is the what do you call one fad? Second is the what do you call the fear of the unknown. शायद मेरा बच्चा 2 नंबर और आ जाएगा entrance में. That's all. Otherwise not. We all know for sure that IIT entrance or whatever it is NCERT course, nothing beyond that. And if we deliver that very good in our school, I don't see. Because when a child is, when his mother or parent is walking into your school to get the child admitted, he or she knows what's the, price, what's the cost. But then if you don't deliver to that, then there will be a lot of issues.
Sure. So what I take away is that cost is proportional to quality, but if the outcome is met.
Sure, 100%. In any way, even this hotel.
Absolutely. I'll just pass the wagon to Dr. Amrita here. Ma'am, what's your thought on this? How do you correlate the cost and quality of education?
So I completely agree with what Sir already said. So not repeating what he's already mentioned. I mean, yes, things have become way more complicated now, and the world is evolving. Everything around us is evolving. Can we say that we got this table, or we could organize this event 20 years ago at the same cost that we are probably spending today? Not exactly, right? So the cost for everything has risen. The salaries of teachers have to be in proportion to that. Any profession, even today, the salaries of teachers are much lower. And I think the cost that we incur in terms of supporting our teachers, ensuring the best possible skill building and the best possible culture around their learning and teaching environments. I think that is the real cost of education, and that is definitely going to impact the quality. What doesn't really impact the quality as such, though, very often it is thus projected, and it's painful to see that sometimes, is that the infrastructure is equivalent to quality. That really isn't. I mean, पढ़ाई पेड़ के नीचे भी बहुत अच्छी आज की तारीख में भी हो सकती है, right? Yes, you need some basic infrastructure and you need certain basic things. Those requirements are also increasing over a period of time. You do need to invest in technology. You do need certain maintenance of all those tools and so on and so forth. But at the same time, there's a whole lot of open source available. There's a whole lot of innovation within us and our teams, which we are able to utilize and create a lot of things out of nothings around us. But all that is possible, that innovativeness or creating resources out of the simplest of things, एक पत्ती भी resource है, right? So all of this is possible only when the teacher is in it because of passion, because of commitment.
So what I get from both of you is the pedagogy, the training, everything that has a direct correlation to the education outcome definitely is proportional to the cost.
Let's just avoid the word training,
okay,
and use the word professional development. First and foremost, we need to see all of us educators as professionals here who do know and specialize in this field of education, and therefore deserve some recognition and respect for being who we are. But we always are faced with the whole world trying to teach us how to teach. And everybody comes, अरे स्कूल तो हम भी गए थे, पढ़े तो हम भी थे, तो हमें तो पता है कैसे होता है, मतलब कुछ डिफरेंट थोड़ी कर रहे हो आप, वही तो पढ़ाओगे तो आप बोर्ड में कुछ लिखोगे. But there is so much to pedagogical learning, and it's a sea out there. You can keep learning, and it never stops. So similarly, so like in any other profession, people need regular professional development and investment on that. In teaching also, we need to see it that way.
Absolutely. But the larger point, which I think both of you agreed with as well, and is that the cost of education has gone up. Of course, ma'am, you covered some of the aspects that it's inflation, things, it is a natural progression. But maybe I'll come to Shalini ma'am and AP Sharma sir. What in your mind are the biggest contributors to increase in education cost or the cost of education? And to add to it, maybe from a administrator's perspective as well, what are the largest heads? Why has the cost of education gone up?
So, first and foremost, hi everybody. I know it's chai ka time. I'm trying to have a cup of tea. क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है मैं स्कूल के बच्चों की तरह नहीं सेशन के बाद ही चाय मिलेगा. So, Gagandeep, that's for you. So just to your question, see, let's look back. How was education in my time and now? My teacher did not have to check my bag for a heavy bag. My teacher did not have to go for 10,000 professional development classes. My parents did not have to come to school for a PTM or to meet a teacher if my daughter has done her homework. And I think I came out strong. Right? I think I'm doing pretty well in life. So where did we go wrong? Why has the cost of education gone up? We need to reflect and go back. What exactly did we do? We filled up the child's bag with 5 books of English, 5 books of Hindi, workbook, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Is the child more educated than what the child was at that time? Let's question that. So I think what has happened is, of course, the cost has gone up because of the swanky classrooms, as I always say. Let's not look at 10% of the schools. Let's go in the interiors of India and talk about it. Where have we changed? We have got swankier classrooms, smart boards, everything is smart, right? But isn't the education system the same still? So when we are increasing, talking about the rising cost, definitely parents are questioning because is the quality in sync with that, right? So as educators, we are caught in a vicious circle. I need to show off because of course I have a smart board. I still remember I did not have a smart board in one of the schools and a parent came and asked me, do you have smart boards? I said no, but I had smart teachers. And I think as Amrita said and as Sir said, when we talk about professional development, yes, that adds to the cost. But why can't we just get people, I'm trying to be a devil's advocate, Costed, so you have to forgive me for that. We need to look at it, that where are we going, what are we doing? Does a smart board improves the learning outcome in the class? Let's go back and look at the research. These are the costs which have added. We've got a gym in the school. Do you think a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old requires a gym? No, he doesn't. It actually spoils the muscles if you read the research. So the cost has gone up because of these additional factors. I'm not denying that. The cost of, as Amrita said, I'm in sync. We pay very poorly to the teachers and nobody talks about it. The teachers who create the nation, who have created you, if you sat for IIT, you did because there was a teacher who was probably getting 35 or 40,000. And then we increase the fees, but are we in proportion increasing the salaries of the teachers? Let's look at that. So the cost has gone up, infra, swankier classrooms, lot of additions, and that is why and is it in sync with the quality? I think there is a gap.
Okay, and Sharma, so what would your view on this be?
I will contradict everything till now, whatever is said. Actually, there is no direct proportion between two things. That if the cost is increasing, then the quality of education will also increase. No way. And if quality of education is increasing, then we need to increase the cost. No way. There are so many schools in India where the cost is still same, but they are producing amazing results. We are getting great children from villages, right from Mr. Kalam to many other people. So most important thing is the connect and the best utilization of your resources. Because most of the people who are sitting here, if they would have been the owner, they would be very much interested. Acha, बगैर कॉस्ट बढ़ाए मिस्टर शर्मा कैसे बताएंगे क्वालिटी बढ़ा दें? इससे बढ़िया तो कोई बात है नहीं. The point is that most of the schools are profit motive, and since they need to increase their profit, they need to increase their cost. They need to increase their facilities, and most of the facilities are not utilized. So where to start? We need to start with connect. Like I would like to connect with all of you right now. In most of my workshops, I connect. I tell that when you go inside the classroom, connect with the child, because there are many batteries which are fully charged. There are few half charged. There are few not charged. Like here also, I will ask you aha, and then you have to say oh. If I say aha, you will say oh. I will check what is the battery level. Aha. Oh, that side battery level is low. Oh. Still battery level is low. Ah. Now it's coming up. This is the point, that in classroom, if you ensure that your education is reaching to the each and every child, then this is quality of education. How you can increase quality of education? You know, the Bunyadi Shiksha and Bunyadi Talim in Gujarat, there are so many good schools. Without increasing the cost, they are increasing the quality. So the point is how we can utilize every resource of the school, including teacher, effectively. Yes, training is required, but training, in-house training by in-house teachers, nothing like it. With brainstorming, my school, most of my teachers used to do the training. I give them hand holding, and then they give training. So I am not changing one person, I am changing the person who is becoming more competent by giving training, and others by getting training. And in my school, when I was in Jaipur, I started one project that in NTSC classes, my students of class 12 will take classes of class 10. And from first to 10th position, continuously 3 years in Rajasthan from my school. So NDTV people came and asked me, said, what have you done? I said, very simple, that these children are of their level only. They are teaching them, so they will understand much better. And these children were getting, who were in class 12, were getting one period in 3 months. So they were preparing like anything. And whatever they were teaching these children, they were becoming master of that subject. And what was the result? In KVPY, first position, third position, fifth position. Means class 12 also. Here also, right from foundation, if we teach children a skill, कौन सी बड़ी बात आप कंप्यूटर या डिजिटल तकलीफ से सिखाना शुरू करिए. They will learn the skill by doing. See, but I'm not against digitalization of education, but I'm against the misuse of digitalization of education. If you think that by digitally adding 1 plus 2, child will learn 3, no. He will learn by adding 1 marble to 2 marbles, making it 3. So the point is, you need to use those kind of instruments where the sensory is attached. Then child will learn. This is experiential learning, not looking at experiencing. This is not experience. Experience is by doing, by involving himself and herself. So I'm totally against that quality education. If you want to do, you can do it with the same cost. Try to look at what kind of great resources you have in your school. I beg your pardon for deviating.
No, absolutely. It's great, and thank you, Shalini ma'am and Sharma sir, for. So basically, what I take away is, ma'am, you're saying the biggest asset of an educational institute is the teacher, and there is less indexing on everything to do with the teacher and making it a less aspirational profession in India. But at the same time, there has been a disproportionate rise in costs which are ancillary, and if I read both of you correctly, it's unnecessary in certain respects. Fantastic. But maybe I'll go to Kanak and Sandeepan Reddy sir, given you have institutions across the parts as well. But from a parent's perspective, let's take a parent's lens here, right? A parent is seeing different schools, different fee structures, different costs, different facilities, right? How, as a parent, how should they gauge the quality of education or the outcome when they are trying to enter into an institute? And is it geography focused, or is it, or I would love to get both of your thoughts on this.
So, thank you. And I really agree with what Sharma sir said. I come from a small village, and we have 2 CBSE schools and 21 preschools. They are in rural Maharashtra. And out of 44 in the first batch of 12, 16 students cracked the NEET examination. 5 were for AIMS, and 12 students have cracked the JEE without doing extra classes and without doing. So I agree with the quality of education will go with the resources that you are utilizing rather than doing. And again, coming to the point, if at all you want to reduce the cost, it is about the processes that you are setting up. If you are doing the same thing again and again, and if you put the processes, because in rural, we are very scarcity of resources, but professional development has taken the first step. And for that, the school in rural sector, we have developed our own LMS, wherein the teachers are going every day through that. It's like this thing. So it's a simple process. It's like, now there is a word like not profit, for profit. It's completely a different segment. But if we really want to reduce something, I always focus on what is an asset-like model schools, which can be scalable to next level with the quality of education you can provide.
But correct, I would like to thank you, sir. But my specific pointed question to you would be: if I am a parent, I am looking at multiple institutes. How do I determine the quality of education? What are the parameters would I look at? Would I look at the 10 scores? Would I look at the infrastructure? Would I look at the curriculum, the books? How should I look at the quality of education from a parent's perspective?
Sure. Great question, Kaustav. And sir, I requested you to go first because I spent so much time in Lucknow. वो तहज़ीब आ गई है पहले आप. So that's the reason I requested you to go first. Kaustav, generally people assume that admissions is the holy cow of the system. Everyone thinks that in the education world, admissions is the holy cow, and that's a stereotype that we have to live with. To answer your question before that, I think it's a trap. When you try to entertain each and every parent, it's a trap that you're falling in as an educator. In India, in the world, everyone's an expert on education besides this panel. We are not the experts. We have no idea. We have not done any research or professional development. It's important to educate the parents. It's important to bring them on board, tell them about the kind of things you are doing. If there were 3 top things I would look at a school for my child, the number 1 would be, what is the professional development plan that you have for your teachers and staff? The second thing I would look for is, what are the holistic development opportunities you provide to your child? The third thing I would look at is that if you are aligned with the future skills needed in the world. Those are the things I would look at as a parent. The parent of today's time is not entirely in tune with it. Why is that? There are 3 revolutions that the world has seen. The Industrial Revolution, where we were all going after jobs. Then we went into the information age, where information was the most important aspect, and we were trying to have a life where everyone would have comforts. And now we are in a social age. Now I feel that the child of today is looking at more social equivalency than anything else. I don't think our parents know that. And it's a trap when you try to entertain each and every parent who walks into the school. It's better that as an educator, you make an effort to educate the parents.
Awesome, thanks for this. I'll go to Mr. Daniel now. So I think we'll take a step back from the lens of the parent and focus on technology for a while. So all of us are in agreement that the cost of education has gone up for multiple reasons. So how do you think technology can be leveraged to bring down the cost?
Yes, we do acknowledge that prices have gone up. And so technology is also, I think we've discussed here, is not a silver bullet. It's not a magic solution. It is a tool that we can use to support in professional development and to support in the things that we're doing, the good pedagogy that makes the difference between a successful school. So I guess where technology comes in is, how can it help my teachers who have a lot to do? We're requiring them to do a lot, from lesson planning to putting things on the LMS. How can we reduce the burdens on them by having efficient processes and systems? And that's where technology can come in. Or professional development. I see that the cost quality thing, I think it's on the climb. I guess if you're up there, it's this way. It's on the climb right now, but I think it's because we have a whole group of teachers who are in the field right now who have not been exposed to good pedagogy, right? Haven't been taught that. So we have this big hill to climb to get everyone to a point, and I would love to see higher education, training colleges, education colleges incorporate all the NEP kind of pedagogies, so that when they come to us out of university, they're ready to go. They don't need the kind of intensive investment in professional development we take a month at least up front and train. And then the ongoing thing, technology can help with that. Technology can bring people across the world. Before we had to put everyone on an airplane and send them somewhere for a conference. Now technology can connect us, and I think after the last 2 years, we're probably all very tired of that, but it has that ability to connect us in ways and to bring information and training across the world. So for me, again, it's what the teachers are doing, that's the heart of the school, so how can technology help them do that better? If they're doing a lesson, technology can help them access information visually. It can help them achieve the objectives of their lesson. So I think that's technology as a tool, and we heard about smart boards. I think for me, I've never invested in a smart board in any of my schools anywhere because 90% of the functionality of a smart board no one will ever use. But it's a cool looking thing, and parents ask about that. Do you have smart boards? That's what the parents want, right? So technology, again, is educating the parents to say, well, why do you think a smart board is so important? Here's what we do that does all the things a smart board do, right? So
that's an interesting perspective. You're saying that technology is definitely, it scales, it will leverage, it will reduce the cost, but a lot of technology is also brought in which is unnecessary, which is demand driven, which is what the parent wants, which I think Kanak was also referring to, that someone is looking at the next door person, what his child is going through and why is it not there in my institution. I'm going to switch gears and move to the most important aspect, which is teachers, and I'm come to you, Dr. Amrita and Shalini ma'am. I think it was brought up multiple times during the discussion that teacher is at the heart of education, right? And of course, a lot of investment, a lot of thoughtfulness has to go into the professional development of a teacher. And at the same time, we as a country, progress, have to make teaching a more aspirational profession, right? Would love your thoughts on that. And also, the point is, both of these are increased costs. So how does a administrator or an institute manage the cost versus the quality in this?
I'll just say that very critical to, like I was recently talking to someone and they said that they just did a school audit, a finance audit. And there was 80% of the money was being spent on all sorts of admin and operational and so on and infra kind of costs. So naturally, what was really being spent on the teachers? No school is better than its teachers. I think what proportion of the money or in the budget is being really spent on teachers matters. Not just, of course, we've all discussed about their professional development. Of course, that is critical and important, but also how much are we supporting teachers? What all are we doing as institutions to make life easier for teachers? Technology, like he said, can come in really handy in that sense. There is a lot expected from teachers, and I think it's one of the toughest professions to be in today's time. So then, and that sense of respect, we are in the same culture where the teacher was supposed to be the guru and so on. But today, things are different. So that sense of respect in that profession needs to be brought back, and also the understanding that, okay, there's so much of data that we are looking at, what all tools can be used, how do we really actually analyze that data and make it easier, make a lot of their work easier and simpler and more effective at the same time, using technology which can come in handy as a tool, while at the same time ignoring technology which is just, the showcase, like we refer to the smart board. That is still teacher-centric. If technology has to be there, it has to be in the hands of the teacher and the learner. So, and then it is effective, and the teacher has to know what all to do with it. And that again will require professional development, and that again will require a whole cultural shift towards that dynamic for the entire gamut of people, not some external support on professional development and so on. So that, I think, needs to be brought back. Just let's respect teachers. Again, no school, no institution is better than its teachers.
So basically we are saying we should over-index on everything to do with the teacher as an institution. Ma'am, I think they're right. We will take 10 more minutes, 3 questions. But Shalini ma'am, quick thoughts, 1 minute on how do we make teaching a very aspirational profession in India?
Let's get the best as a teacher. My take, because I was from the corporate world, having earned all the money, and then I jumped into teaching from 1 lakh to 1500 rupees, right? Get in people who really have a passion. Do not make B.Ed compulsory. Get the people, B.Ed did not make me a better teacher, but it was my passion, my heart, my love which made me. So get in the right people, and I think you'll invest in less. You'll be able to give better quality, because at the end of the day, as Kanak said, I'll take just a minute, when he's looking for a school for a kid, or now I'm looking for a school for my granddaughter, the first thing I'll look is not the content. Can the teacher connect with the child? So the connect is very important.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I'll go to Mr. Daniel again. One question, which was actually, we did a survey among a few of our employees and asked what is one question that should come up. And interestingly, they asked a question that an IB school is typically perceived as a high fees school. Why do IB schools structurally have a high fees? What is the reason for it? And how do you think about the cost there?
Right, well, I've done a lot of international education, and now I'm here in India, but I can tell you I have experience with IB, and I don't know if Deepika is still here, our local IB guru, but you know, IB brought to international schools a level of competency that didn't previously exist. So international schools from country to country could say, I'm on par, I'm at this level. It really leveled the playing field in different regions. And now we've seen IB come into countries and national curriculum as well. So IB is expensive because, one, they have developed they've developed a system that's not something that is only unique to them, right? They've established some good pedagogy that many good schools have, inquiry-based, experiential learning, real-world applications, critical thinking, all those things that good schools do. But they've wrapped it up in a package and they've brought it in. And because there's a buzz around IB, and because IB, you know, they do good things, right? But because they're also now a branded thing, and schools have to pay membership to IB and to have to invest heavily in training and being up to date on all the latest IB things, those things get passed on through tuition. But I think that the idea is that in some places, I've worked in the UAE, there's an automatic association with that's a high fee school, that must be a high quality school.
That's not related.
No, it's not. I mean, I've seen some excellent IB schools. I've seen some IB schools that are not that great. I'm in a CBSE school. The same can be said about CBSE or anything. It's not what they're branded, it's what you see inside the building. How are the teachers teaching? How are they interacting with the children? What's happening?
Sorry? I think the entire discussion is converging on the fact that how is the pedagogy, how are the teachers in the institution, how is education being imparted. That's the crux of it. I just have two more questions. I'll go to Mr. A.B. Sharma again. I think we missed discussing the Black Swan event, which was COVID. So as an administrator as well as an educator, how have the last 2 years impacted the cost and quality of education?
See, if you talk about the pandemic, one thing is, without any doubt, everybody will agree that yes, the quality of education has improved. Because teachers have learned those kind of skills which they never thought of. And this was one of the most important skills of an Indian teacher which was missing. And I must salute all the teachers, the way they have learned. There is a process of learning that is skill. Otherwise, you will find that we used to have teachers who used to teach from their notes which they prepared during their study time. So the cost, if you will find in these 2 years, cost was reduced.
But one question, sorry, I will interject. I understood the teacher point, but the translation of the education to the child, was it the same? Wasn't the quality of education hampered over a Zoom versus in classroom teaching?
But undoubtedly, everybody knows that is hampered, but we get to know about one more type of education, the hybrid part. And now most of the schools are using both kind of things. So that is an addition. So if you talk about quality, then we are talking about quality with constraints. What were the constraints? And as you said that Somebody said that we must appreciate teacher. No, we should not appreciate teacher. We should appreciate teaching. Because if you appreciate teacher, teacher does not know that why I am being appreciated, and they think, oh, I am being appreciated, so I am great. Superiority complex. You you appreciate their teaching, so they will improve their teaching. And that is very important. There will be competition. Thank you for your applause.
Understood. In the interest of time, we'll wrap it up in 5 minutes. I think the final question to Jayaprakash sir, Sandeepan sir and Kanak. So, what are the tactical 2 or 3 things that an educational institute should do? Of course, to improve the quality of education, that's a given, but to reduce the cost. Tactical 2 or 3 things, according to you, which an institute should do. Question to all 3 of you. Can go ahead.
Just adding on to one point that sir was saying. Well, the learning levels also will be taken care of by the educators in spite of COVID. I think technology will take care of it and the educators will take care of it. It's the social emotional aspect of children which has really suffered, that no one really talks about openly. Social skills have suffered, and it's an irreversible travesty that we'll have to deal with in the next 10 years. Coming to your question, very quickly because we are short on time as well.
All the time.
I feel that as schools, we should look at the efficiency of everything that we have. How can we become more efficient? We should invest in technology where technology is needed. Don't invest in technology for the heck of it. Do not invest in infrastructure for the heck of it. And thirdly, make sure that real-world application comes to your classroom by collaboration with other educators, with other agencies. I think these would be my 3 top tips.
Fantastic. Jayaprakash, your thoughts?
I feel what I have seen as both as a teacher and I started my career as an assistant PF commissioner. 21 साल की उम्र में मेरे सर पे लाल बत्ती थी, सर पे नहीं गाड़ी पे. But within 1.5 years, I grew sick of the corruption there and decided that this is the beautiful place I can be because I will be in the company with all kids. But I need to look into their eyes squarely and fairly. For that, I should be giving them the best of teachers. And the best of today, can I do something right now? Dramatic? I'm a theatre person. Yeah. All of us, most of us are educationists, right? यहाँ हाथ आके बोलिए कितने लोग अपने बच्चों को टीचर बनाना चाहते हैं? बहुत कम. देखिए. This is the answer. Because हम वहीं धकेलते हैं जहाँ पैसा है, जहाँ सोशल स्टेटस है, जहाँ अच्छी लाइफ और अच्छी लाइफ है. So we need, in my school, many of them, 30% of those teachers get in 6-figure salary. The others, touching that. So when we afford to do that, we get the best teachers, in the industry. When we do that, we are actually able to. It's not a question of making.
No, absolutely, sir. I think
all things. So I'm saying 70%. The rest 30% is where what we were talking the other night regarding the going absolutely paperless. So many things are there. Using the building, because the board doesn't allow that to be used for any other commercial purpose. Otherwise, we could have generated money out of it and we would have cut cost of the students. Does not allow because there are many other things involved in it, certain things. Now, using the building in twin shift system, there is one other way to do it. So that the number increases, if the volume increases, you can cut out the cost. So we have been doing that also in our schools. That's, there are many things people will speak about.
And what's your thought?
So just like we know Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets done. And that's where we need to identify and use of technology, what Kanak and everyone was saying. Use of technology and be into collaborative mode. So in the COVID period, like we have data, like 16% of students were more learning when they were slow learners. If you see slow learners in the school, 16% knew what they were learning on Zoom rather than in class. So if we can identify such things and identify what we can do, yes, that's the way to go. Use technology to the best of best, what all the panelists are on the same page.
Fantastic. I think you all have been a fantastic panel. Maybe I'll just quickly summarize the discussion in 30 seconds. I think all of us would agree that we discussed a few things. One is, yes, the cost has gone up. A lot of it is justifiable. A lot of it is demand driven, what parents want. It might not directly impact the outcome of education, which is the most important thing. I think a great thing came up across the panel, which was over-indexed on teachers, over-indexed on professional development of the teachers, spend the most on the teachers and making, because that is what impacts the outcome. The way to optimize or reduce the cost is collaboration, use technology. I think someone mentioned an asset line model. So and we can basically cut down or reduce the costs on those aspects. But one thing that should never be compromised on is the quality of teaching, and that is related to the teachers. I think fantastic. Thank you everyone. I think we did pretty well in the time we had.
I think this discussion was the most impressive one, and everyone might have, I was finding everyone, each one of them was listening to all of you, because that is the something which they are going to take back home, and they will be discussing all these things. Thank you very much, all the panelists. It was so wonderful to have you. Even if as a principal of the school, I always believe that these sort of discussions regular to happen, and it's not only the leaders but also your coordinators, your HM, these all discussions should happen so that they only are the partners to take up all to the management of the stakeholders. I think they need a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please. Now, may I request Gagandeep ji, are you there? Please come. We'll felicitate for their wonderful work, wonderful words of wisdom. May I request my team to bring the mementos. Jay Prakash sir, please. Next to follow, AP Sharma sir. Madam Pratima Sinha. Sandeepan Reddy ji. Madam Shalini Nambiar. Dr. Amrita Vohra, please. Next to follow, Mr. Kanak Gupta. Sir Daniel. Next panelist, Daniel Curry. Last but not the least, the moderator of the session, Conclave. Rajvinder, ma'am, please come on stage. Please, one more trophy from Head and Heart. Please.
हो जाए तो बताना।
After a wonderful panel discussion on the topic, can institute increase their quality of education without increasing the cost? I hope you might have got a lot of inputs, feedback to implement. Friends, let me now quickly invite for another presentation by our co-partner by Jodo. Can I request the team to come on for the presentation? The FinTech partner. Is coming. FinTech partner, Jodo. Is there? Fine, lovely. I request now somebody to remove the chair. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being a fantastic audience during the panel discussion.
I promise I'll not take more than 5 minutes of your time. I wanted to discuss a very interesting topic. So we believe that today, which is 2022, is a strategic inflection point in education fee payments. Right? I just have some data for all of you, which we have taken from some real surveys, as well as Jodo has done a survey with our partner institutions, some of them. And I'll just take all of you through some data that we have put together, and would just request everyone to take a look at the data. Alright, so in the last 2 years, around 67% of educational institutes face some teacher or administrator had to spend time in the process of fee collection, right? And in the last 2 years, only around 50% of the parents made the full fee payment. Alright, the next data point for whoever is watching is 35% of the parents were not able to pay the fees on time because they could not visit the school or the bank or the institution. And there were at least 29% institutions that lost at least 5% of the revenue due to non-digital payment methods being there in the institution. Of course, all of you would know this, but in the last 3 years, because of government intervention or request from parents or drop-offs in admissions, at least 80-85% of the schools have not increased the fees or had to cut down on their fee amounts. Around 97% of the schools that at least we work with had to give additional flexibility to the parents to make the fee payment in the last 2 years, and 80% of them still continue to do so in 2022. So we surveyed a set of around 500 parents, and around 84% of them say that they still expect the same level of flexible payment options even post-pandemic or now. Just a few more slides. So our team told us that the 74% of the schools that we surveyed brought in a new digital mode of payment, be that a QR or a new payment gateway or NACH-based solutions in the last 24 months once the pandemic hit. And the last data point that we want to give you is that it's a very interesting one. There were at least 61% of the parents who earlier went to the school to make the fee payment for Q1 or Term 1 2022, made the fee payment sitting at home or not going to the school or the bank, right? I think today we are at an inflection point of education fee payments. Part of it is driven by the digital evolution that is there in India, and part of it is just the change in consumer and the behavior during the pandemic. What we foresee is that the way an educational institute used to collect the fees 5 years back is not the same that is today, and in the next 5 years it will be far different, right? We believe that parents want flexible payment options that are convenient and affordable, and institutes want predictable fee payment options and one unified platform to manage all of it. And we believe that we at Jodo are at the forefront of it. So the headline is that fee payment ecosystem is changing because of what's happened around us, and going ahead or even now how educational institutions collect the fees is very different, and it will transform, and we at Jodo are at the forefront of it. We have an instant payment stack, a recurring payment stack, and a credit or a EMI stack. And institutions get a very consolidated one-stack solution to manage their entire collection. We work with 700 plus institutes across the country. We have served 50,000 plus parents in the last 12 months, and I think we are revolutionizing the way educational institutions collect the fees. we would love to talk to you, or if we haven't already spoken. And that's all we wanted to present. I think the headline is education fee payments has changed partly because of what's happened around us and the pandemic, and the way educational institutes are or will collect the fees will be very, very different. Thanks for being a lovely audience. I hope you resonated with one or two things that we put forward in the slides. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation, and I hope you have listened from him about the automation of school fee through Zodo. I think we need to go through to his counter to see if at all we need more. Dear friends, few more presentation, and that too hardly 15-20 minutes before we go for big one which we are all waiting for. I would request now the Visuara team. May I request the team to come on stage immediately, please. Followed by the presentation by Master Ji, and finally by the brain optimization by a special on head experimental session by Head and Heart. Can we have Visuara team? Are you able to hear me? Please raise your hand. To be followed by Master Ji. Can I have the Master Ji team? Your time slot will go away if you do not respond. It is Master Ji. Okay. Vishwara Ji, this is the last and final call. Come fast. Have patience, my dear school leaders. I can understand these people have come from long distance to presentation. Now over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'll try to be quick since we are already running out of time. So, I'm from Vijayawada, and we make interactive digital textbooks for hybrid learning in schools. Before starting with the actual product, so before starting with the actual product, I will just take some time to introduce about my team. So my name is Rajat, and Vijayawada was founded by 3 people, me along with my twin brother Raj and Sridhar. So all of us graduated from IIT Madras in 2018, and after that we moved to the USA to pursue our PhDs from MIT and Purdue. And while doing our PhDs, we realized that education is something which all of us are extremely passionate about, and we want to contribute something towards it by coming back to India. And after the pandemic happened, we realized that schools have this additional need of transitioning to digital learning. And we interacted with a lot of schools, and we actually realized that this is a real need and this problem needs to be solved. So we thought of completing our PhDs and coming back to India to work on this full time. So this has been our journey so far. We have spent around 2 years in developing this product, and we have secured pilots with multiple schools now. We have already started demonstrations in the cities of Delhi and Kerala, and recently our content was accredited by the prestigious STEM organization in the USA. So our flagship product is called as Vizbooks, which are textbooks brought to life. So imagine the textbooks which your school is using, and imagine them being transformed in a completely new way, in a highly gamified, interactive and immersive fashion. So what exactly are these Wizbooks and how will the schools use them? So the way the Wizbooks can be used in the schools are two ways. Firstly, they can be used by teachers in the classrooms to supplement in-class teaching. And secondly, they can be used by students as take-home assessments at their homes. So any schools which have a smart board or a projector and a screen can simply plug in our product into their LMS or ERPs and they are good to go. Now, coming to the product itself, the main features of the Wizbooks are that we can configure our product based on the curriculum of the school. We have made all the science and mathematics chapters based on the NCERT curriculum right now. But let's say if the school approaches us and tells that we are following a different curriculum, we can easily configure the product based on the school curriculum. All of our content features are aligned with the National Education Policy led out by the Government of India. And we incorporate 21st century digital skills into our Wizbooks. Now, what are the main features of the Wizbooks? If you have visited my booth, you will get to know more. I'll be here even after this talk. The main features are that we convert text and equations into beautiful videos. We make three-dimensional models of 2D images. And we make interactive games and virtual laboratories. So every chapter in the textbook will be converted into a digital format, which will be following these features. There is a very interesting feature which I want to talk about is related to the concept of trees. So the name Visuara actually derives from Viz meaning visual learning and Ara means trees. So it's basically a tree of knowledge. Now what do I mean by a concept tree? So every chapter is having a lot of concepts and all the concepts are connected to each other in a very unique way. And sometimes the student is learning a particular concept, but they often get lost as to where this concept is placed in the context of the entire chapter. So every chapter actually can be related to a tree, where the branches of the tree are the concepts and the leaves are the sub-concepts. So every chapter will have a separate, unique concept tree associated with it. You can also think of it in the form of a lesson plan. So basically we make different trees for every chapter, and once the student has successfully completed the chapter, they will have planted a new tree in their forest. So this is a tree forest approach which is simply to make sure that the student forms connections in their minds about the concepts and they learn in a much better way. Another thing is these in-chapter games which are based on the concept of inquiry-based learning. So instead of directly providing solutions to the students will first play some games and then the exercise questions and assessments will be based on that. Again, this is highly aligned with the National Education Policy of India. And finally, to start out with the schools, we are offering a pilot program where we can start with 1 or 2 chapters of science and mathematics. If the school is satisfied with what they see, then we can proceed. So for us, making the teachers and parents happy is the first priority. And we take very special efforts into taking the teachers and the principals' needs into account. So if you want to know further details, I'm just standing in the booth right over at the back. You can just come and talk to me. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Visuara. I think they have supplements for classroom teaching as well as assignment, something to be done. And if at all, you can have a look. They are having a counter at the back. Thank you very much. Would love to now quickly request the team of Master G to have the presentation. So your time starts now.
Hi, good evening. So, yeah, this slide on. So before I start, I heard a lot about and very interesting, panelists speaking about time management, panelists speaking about technology, and I would like to add a few points here. What is technology? And if we think that Zoom or Oda Academy or some kind of a technology that we are exposed to today, is that it? No. Just imagine, 50 years ago, a doctor has to be really skilled, to decide whether your swollen leg is because of inflammation or because of a fracture. There was no aid. Yeah. I see the education system that we have today in a similar boat, wherein technology can enable teachers to teach much better and enable regular teachers. Like I heard about a statistics which says the 125 people interviewed, only 4 qualified. Right? Some kind of that number. Why is this? Why can't, or rather not why can't, but technology can definitely de-skill all these expertise which lie, with so many people and so much experiences, and can bring it to ordinary people. That is where I come from, and that is where this product, MasterG.ai, is aiming to do, though not the whole part of it, a small part of it. What we are trying to do is to raise the teachers to a higher level of value chain, to raise the student, to enable the student to score better, to understand better, and by managing time, like somebody said. Every student has this 2.5 hours where he can, practice his questions after all this concept learnings. And that is the space that we are in. Can you go to the next slide? So these were the things which we said, key 4 teachers selected from a pool of 125. Not many aspirants interested in taking teaching as a profession. So we need to make it easy. Technology can do that. Parents distrust on school. Effective measurable solution probably can solve it, which again technology can help. Adoption of technology by teachers is currently a deterrent. Not many are willing to embrace it. So easy. Did somebody teach us how to use a WhatsApp? No. Yeah. So something that technology not only solving the problem but also easing it out for the newcomers, for the teachers to use it. And then there are some hard facts which top 6 line edtech companies, so-called technology companies, have approximately 98 lakh paid users. So the results will be extraordinary, right? Let's see those. 21.5 lakh students appearing for class 10 CBSE. Around 58% scored less than 80%. Yeah. Or rather, why only 12% students scored more than 90? Yeah. Access to the right kind of teachers, access to guided tutoring. Yeah. All of these are the key here. Let me take you through a small 2.5 minutes video explaining this better.
For new edtech, same score again.
Same score again? What did you do, honey? We got you so many expensive online education apps. You self-studied for 2.5 hours as well.
Yes, but that time of self-study I was alone. Nobody was there to guide me. What's right, what's wrong, how much to study for what score. Nobody had told me. I was completely alone. Oh God, in school I had teachers and various apps. And I also had so many options for home too. But no one is there at the time of self-study. It's just me and my choti si Asha. Is there anybody who can tell me what to study daily? With how much preparation, how much would I be able to score? For a certain score, how many hours should I study before the exam? God, if I decide the score, can someone create a customized curriculum for myself? Oh God, this is just my choti si from you. God.
No worries, Bachcha.
God?
Your problem is not studying with edtech. Your 2.5 hour study is not effective.
Meaning?
It means edtech either teaches concepts or shows the videos. That's not enough. Right? It's neither interactive nor customized.
That's right. She either looks at screen or her notebook.
Yes, you're right.
Even after 2.5 hours of self-study, why can't she get 90% marks?
She said it herself because she doesn't know what to do or how to study during the self-study. How much syllabus she should cover, how much she should study for how much score.
Isn't this included in any tech?
Unfortunately, no. Your daughter needs Master G app.
Master G app?
Yes, Master G app focuses totally on self-study of 2.5 hours. Accurate diagnosis. Score prediction. This app can predict your child's near accurate score. It is like having a personal tutor who is available 24/7 for your child. Customized curriculum. This helps you understand how many hours to study and how to study for your targeted score. For a target score, to save 40% of the time. Master G app is 90% economical, which means your child can purchase this app from the pocket money.
Really?
Of course.
Where is this app?
Here it is. Score increases by practicing the selected questions. Books are enough to study just like that. Score increases by writing answers step by step.
So that's about it, and this is a small piece that we are trying to solve. Like I said, a technology moving education system, into a flipped classroom where, the low-hanging fruits can be done by the student at home, and then teacher can rise up to the value-added chain. Similarly here, what we are trying to give student is an accurate diagnostics. You can only teach them only if you know how well they are doing in each concept. This is a small report card versus what Master G has scored. So diagnostics is one tool in Master G, and though it is not visible right now out here, but what I can tell you is we have taken around 250 tests of students who are just going to their exams. A 20-minute test in Master G is able to predict exactly the similar score what a 2.5 hour, after they write the 2.5 hour paper. So it is that accurate in terms of score prediction. The objective is not score prediction. The objective is understanding their strength and weakness in different concept areas. And once we understand the strength and weakness in 2,300 different parameters, which is actually virtually impossible by a human teacher to do. And that is where technology comes to the assistance of teachers, wherein it helps the teachers. It helps the teachers with a dashboard, something similar like this, where it tells the teachers where these people are strong at, where these people are, weak at, and at home, it teaches the student exactly those problems and those concepts which they are currently lacking and which they need to build up. What this also does is that in a very minimal time frame, for example, if a student is able to score 80% by spending 2.5 hours of his study, in this case, he may need only 1.5 hours, which means in 2.5 hours, he will be able to go to a much better score than now. So these are some of the, dashboards which we give you. So there is a question paper which you can solve, and all of these question papers are also their practice as well as what teaches them to get a better score. That's it from my end. Dilraj Kaur is our CEO here. She's standing and can reach out to her at this number. Thank you.
Thank you. Master G app. Last session before we go award ceremony, that is head experimental session on brain optimization by head and heart. I will request the team to be very precise, you can understand, and I think brain and heart has been heard by many members since morning. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening, everybody. My salute to all the educators out here. मॉर्निंग में बहुत अच्छे से उन्होंने बोला था नेशन बिल्डर्स, एंड आई ट्रूली एग्री विद हिम, राइट. So you all are really true nation builders. And I know it's not easy. You know, घर में मदर को 2 बच्चे संभालने हो तो इतनी बड़ी हो जाती है. आप स्कूल में 2000 बच्चे संभालते हो. So I understand how you do it, right? So I will not take much time, but जितना भी लूँगा quality लूँगा, and I would request you to see something which is unimaginable. It's not a magic, it's not a gimmick, and God has been kind to us that in such a short span we are able to achieve few milestones, right? So I will start with this. I think this is the most, you can relate to this topic. This is a hot topic in the education fraternity these days, right? I would like to take you to the page number 6, which talks about the fundamental principles of new education policy. And you look at the first fundamental, it's so small, can we enlarge it? Okay, no problem, we can't, I'll read it. The first fundamental talks about recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. Each student is unique. हर बच्चा डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट नहीं बन सकता, पर हर बच्चा कुछ ना कुछ एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी बन सकता है. अब वो एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी क्या है? We don't know. Hit and trial method. Hit हुआ तो hit, miss हुआ तो mess. We see so many messes in quota. We all know that, right? And I would like to take your attention to point number 7, which says creativity and critical thinking. This is all about left and right hemisphere of the brain. Critical thinking comes from the left hemisphere of the brain, and creativity comes from the right hemisphere of the brain. And that's what exactly we do. Now, I would request a subject matter expert, Dr. Sanjay Gautam, who is a board of director with us, who is a PhD in counseling psychology, to come and help you in a very crisp, उनकी presentation तो लंबी थी, मैंने ट्यूटोरियल दी है, in a very crisp manner, how do we recognize, identify the unique capabilities of each child. Although it is for adults also, but we are focusing on children here. Over to you, Dr. Gautam.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everybody. Let me start by sharing the golden words by Dr. Albert Einstein. What he said, life is like riding a bicycle. And if you want to maintain a balance, then just keep going. But sometimes going ahead in life looks difficult. Moving ahead looks almost impossible. And to support my points, I'd like to share some of these unpleasant but really true facts with all of you. These are certain bitter truths which we actually need to look upon. If you see, 99% of the people, they actually choose wrong career path in their life, and there are sources available for this information. 75% of the students go through stress in their student life. And according to NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, more than 10,000 students commit suicide every year in India. Now 10,000, ठीक है, सुनने में शायद बहुत ऑर्डिनरी सा आंकड़ा लग रहा होगा, लेकिन अगर हम इस आंकड़े की गहराई में उतरें तो आप लोग ये रियलाइज करेंगे कि इंडिया में हर 1 घंटे में एक स्टूडेंट सुसाइड कमिट करता है. यानी कि आपने और मैंने जितनी देर में अपना लंच फिनिश किया, उतनी ही देर में हमारे देश के किसी एक कोने में एक स्टूडेंट ने अपनी लाइफ फिनिश कर ली. Now this is really alarming. If you see, now we all talk about progress and growth, but one growth which I am going to share with you, which nobody would like to see in their life. Look at this data.
From 1995 to 1999, there were 27,359 students who committed suicide during these 4 years. From 2000 to 2004, there was a growth of 2% in this data, and the absolute number were 27,880. And then from 2005 to 2009, 8% growth in this number, and it was 30,064. And then from 2010 to 2014, see the rapid growth, 27% growth in this data. And then the last one, from 2015 to 2019, again 27% growth in this number, and the absolute number was 48,537%. Not very pleasant, but unfortunately true. 27% growth in number of suicides committed by students. What else? In India, as I said, in India, one student commits suicide every 1 hour. Just look at this, 60 minutes. Every 60 minutes, one student finishes his or her life. Now what we need to understand is that every child, as my dear colleague, my dear friend Gunandan Singh said, that every child cannot become a doctor. Every child cannot become an engineer. Every child cannot become a scientist. But we need to understand that every child can definitely become something extraordinary. Now what is that something extraordinary? That something extraordinary is basically the inborn qualities, the inborn capabilities of that child. Now the need of an hour is to identify that something extraordinary in every child. Believe me, I'm sure that everybody also believes in this philosophy that every child has some kind of unique qualities in him. Now we as a parent or as an educationist, we need to identify what are those unique qualities. And having identified that, what we can actually do, we can help child to lead the life of excellence rather than just becoming a mediocre. Going further, I would like to share with you that schools, I'm really happy to see this, that schools are already putting the efforts in identifying those inborn qualities, those capabilities in students by using certain tool like psychometric. Right? Many of you must be using this kind of psychometric analysis for your students. If you look about the psychometric, then there are obviously a lot of advantages of psychometric analysis. One is definitely that it is an amazing and easy tool to use. Right? It is a questionnaire based, so very cost effective. It reveals the interest area of the student and then strength and weakness, personality and behavioral pattern of the students. And it also helps in choosing the right career. There is no second thought about it. So psychometric tool is definitely a very helpful in identifying those qualities. And as I said, many of you must already be using or doing that. However, psychometric test also has certain limitations. What are those limitations? Let's look at that. Results can be manipulated. You know why? Because result depends upon the answer given by the participant. And answers can be manipulated by the participants. Because answer depends upon the kind of emotions the participant is actually going through. If he is in happy mood, his reaction, his response will be different. And if he is not in very happy mood, his emotions are actually low, then obviously his response will be quite different. So that way the result can be manipulated by the participant. It can actually mislead, right? Misleading response by the student. The students may choose the ideal answer rather than the right answer. And there is a difference between right answer and the ideal answer. So generally, people try to choose the ideal answer, not the right answer. And answers may be media or social media influenced. It can also reveal many things, but not everything. So obviously psychometric has certain limitation. Now the question is, can we make it better? Answer is definitely yes. Now how? Let me share with you the concept of rich analysis. Now I would really request your undivided attention to this, because what we are going to share with you, you would have hardly heard, in your life so far. And this is a very unique and scientific concept called ridge analysis. Now, what is ridge analysis? In a very simple and layman language, it is the scientific assessment of 100 billion neurons of your brain. Right? Many of you may be knowing that when you were born on this planet, you had 100 billion neurons in your brain. But as we grow, today, if you actually undergo a particular test, and today you will realize that out of those 100 billion neurons, around 14 billion neurons have become dormant or inactive. So when we were born with these 100 billion neurons. So ridge analysis is the scientific study or the scientific assessment of these 100 billion neurons, what we all were born with. Now, to go further, let me give you a very simple definition, more scientific in manners. In neuroanatomy, the gyri. Now, what is gyri? Gyri is basically the surface area of the brain on which all the neurons are grown. So, in neuroanatomy, the gyri, that means the surface area of the brain on which all the neurons are developed, are called ridges. Now, this picture of the brain, everybody must have seen. If you see the smooth area, the smooth surface, that smooth surface is actually called ridges. And this is the area where all these neurons are actually, grown, connected and developed. Now, ridge analysis is basically the study of all those 100 billion neurons of your brain. Now, question is, why ridge analysis? Number one, scientific evaluation of the brain. It is scientific method, not the traditional method. Now, when I'm saying not the traditional method, it does not mean that I'm not in the favor of traditional method. Of course, I am, but I'm just trying to make a point that it is actually a scientific method, not a traditional one. So, 100% scientific method. Number two, no question asked. Question पूछेंगे तो क्वेश्चन की सीवियरिटी क्या है, इसके बेसिस पर जवाब मिलेगा. तो यहाँ पे कोई सवाल ही नहीं पूछा जा रहा है. No question asked. Without asking any question, we are in the position to analyze the brain of other person today. 100% accurate analysis which reveals what you are, not what you are influenced by. Right? So it actually reveals the real picture. It is actually a darpan, आईना है. जो आप actually हैं, जो मैं actually हूँ, वही एनालिसिस बताएगा. किसी भी सूरत में मैं इसके रिजल्ट्स या आप इसके रिजल्ट्स मैनिपुलेट नहीं कर सकते. Neuron distribution pattern in 8 lobes. Our brain is divided into 8 different lobes. So हर एक लोब में कुछ ना कुछ न्यूरॉन्स हैं. तो किस लोब में कितने न्यूरॉन हैं ये हमें नहीं पता. Now एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन लाइन which I was sharing with somebody during the lunch के किसी के हिस्से में मकान आया, किसी के हिस्से में दुकान आई, किसी के हिस्से में मकान आया, किसी के हिस्से में दुकान आई. मैं घर में सबसे छोटा था, मेरे हिस्से में माँ आई. राइट? तो ब्रेन में 8 अलग अलग हिस्से हैं जिन्हें हम ब्रेन लोब्स बोलते हैं. अब किसके हिस्से में क्या आया पता नहीं है. लेट्स फाइंड आउट विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस साइंटिफिक इवैल्यूएशन कॉल्ड ridge analysis. Further, it reveals the inborn capabilities of the brain so that you can lead your life of excellence rather than becoming a mediocre. Next is, it will reveal your personality and behavioral pattern. How you think. आप में से बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स, बहुत सारे टीचर्स यहाँ बैठे हैं, एजुकेशनिस्ट यहाँ बैठे हैं, आपके खुद के भी बच्चे हैं, मेरा खुद का भी अपना बच्चा है. तो कई बार हमें बच्चों के बिहेवियर को समझने में दिक्कत होती है. मेरा बच्चा बहुत इमोशनल है, मेरा बच्चा बहुत गुस्से वाला है, मेरा बच्चा बहुत रिजिड है, मेरा बच्चा बहुत क्रिटिकल है, बहुत एनालिटिकल है. आंसर ये हमें सिर्फ ये तो पता चलता है कि वो ऐसा है, लेकिन शायद हमें ये नहीं पता चल पाता कि वो ऐसा क्यों है. Now this ridge analysis is the answer to this क्यों. Best learning style. We all know that people learn by 3 different styles: visual, auditory and kinesthetic. So this will reveal that what is the best learning style of your brain so that you can adopt that particular learning style and you can enhance the brain productivity. Further, extracurricular activities. Which extracurricular activities is recommended to you according to your brain neurons, not what you like. Because हमारी ये जो liking है ना, हमारी जो liking है, हमारी ये liking हमारे बच्चों की liking situation के हिसाब से, social media के हिसाब से, समय के हिसाब से बदलती रहती है. तो जब लाइकिंग बदलती रहती है तो ऑब्वियसली वी एंड अप वेस्टिंग लॉट ऑफ टाइम, लॉट ऑफ मनी एंड एफर्ट्स. सो व्हाट वी आर सेइंग इज what is most recommended to your brain, choose accordingly. Happy brain will obviously be a productive brain, and the stream selection, science, commerce, or let's say humanities. So choose right so the future becomes bright. Career, right decision at the right time, so no regret in future. Right decision at the right time, so no regret in future. And then academics versus sports versus music and art. As I said in the beginning, every child cannot become a doctor or an engineer or a scientist. लेकिन हर बच्चा कुछ ना कुछ जरूर बन सकता है. तो ये एनालिसिस आपको ये बताएगा कि आपका बच्चा या आपका स्टूडेंट या आप खुद भी, आप एकेडमिक्स के लिए हैं, स्पोर्ट्स के लिए हैं, या म्यूजिक या आर्ट्स के लिए हैं. हो सकता है आप सभी के अंदर, आज आप सब लोग एजुकेशन इंडस्ट्री में हैं, मैं खुद एजुकेशन इंडस्ट्री में हूँ, लेकिन हो सकता है आप में से किसी के अंदर कोई एक लता मंगेशकर बैठी हो, किसी के अंदर कोई एक एम एफ हुसैन बैठा हो, बट शायद हम उस इनबॉर्न टैलेंट को, उस ब्रेन की कैपेबिलिटी को कभी आइडेंटिफाई ही नहीं कर पाए. फर्दरमोर, रेमेडीज. सो इफ इन केस देयर आर रेमेडीज, इफ देयर आर एनी वीक एरिया, देन वी कैन डेफिनेटली फिक्स इट अप. Now, this is the last slide of my presentation. In nutshell, rich analysis is basically the scientific study of your 100 billion neurons to give you complete clarity. So, whenever you are confused between your head and heart, contact head and heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gautam. I am sure you took 5 minutes extra, but it was worth it. Right. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll speak about the remedial part to it now, and I'll not take much time. I would require 2 volunteers from you. So any 2 educators who want to volunteer, they can please come here on the front row. So my request, let's be fast. Okay, so I would like to share, some good moments. As I told you, in a short span, there were a lot of blessings from Almighty, which I like to share. So can we have it on the screen? Yeah, ma'am, please, thank you. I want the second volunteer. Okay, you are there, sir. Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, you can also come, ma'am, please. You just got up. Yeah, please come. Please come. Okay. Ma'am, can you arrange paper pen for Kajal, ma'am? Okay. Ma'am, it is here on the table itself. Okay, so one slide back. Yeah, this is the proud moment of my life, the best moment of my life, when we were, honored with the National Award for Child Welfare from Honorable President of India. And what we do, we are into, I won't say education, but yes, related to education, more into training. I'm a passionate trainer myself. Online certification programs. And we do, and all the trainers are certified by DGT, right? Next. No, not required. I just want to show 2 slides. We were acknowledged among top 3,000 startups by IIM Calcutta. Then the certification of DGT. So Himachal Education Board approved our curriculum for meta learning and neuroscience. The call came from there. I never went there. It came from there. And the best one is this. This is a certificate. This is on the letterhead of the school. It matters a lot to me. You all educators and principals of the school, you would know you will never write a letter on the letterhead and stamp and sign it unless until it is not authentic and it has really not mattered, right? So Dr. Amrit Ochla, who was the principal for Buddhadar Public School, Patiala, so she even mentioned in our brochures that this letter is there. She even mentioned what benefits the students got from this program, and we did more than 300 students of this school, right? So thank you so much. My presentation is over. I don't want to show what is further there in the interest of the time. Okay, so there are 3 things I want to show. First of all, I am sure you have seen the Shark Tank video. I think I can do without mic also. Okay, so you want to know what is the brain exercises which help us to enhance both hemispheres of the brain. So when I talk about that creativity and critical thinking and creativity, it was left and right hemisphere of the brain. So left hemisphere, Dr. Robert W. Sperry got the Nobel Prize for giving giving the split brain theory, that left brain is all about number, logic, reasoning, calculation, analysis, and right brain is all about creativity, art, imagination, emotion, music, love. Both are important. There's a medical fact that one hemisphere of the brain is more dominant than the other, like one of your hands. If you are a right-handed person and tomorrow morning you are told to give a written exam with left hand, you will quit it even before attempting it. Right? Similarly, one hemisphere of the brain is more dominant. Now, the left hemisphere of the brain, it controls right part of the body, and right hemisphere of the brain controls left part of the body. I would like to invite Meg and Jack here. You want to know the exercises which make it happen, how the both hemispheres of the brain can go to the best optimized level? I would request you to copy them. So you can go near all the principles, and I'll do it from here. Can everybody do like this? One and one pinky finger. So my left brain is saying pinky finger and my right brain is saying thumb. So thumb, pinky finger of the other hand. Now interchange. 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 So left and right brain are working simultaneously right now. Best level. Okay. Was I not? Okay. Was I not audible at the end? Okay. So I think I need to repair my vocal cords. Okay. So one thumb and one baby finger, pinky finger interchange. Difficult to do? I know it's difficult for you. Why? Because the one hemisphere of the brain is dominant. The one hemisphere, one hand is able to contemplate the instruction by one hemisphere of the brain. Both contemplating is right now a matter of little more practice or more knowledge. Second, okay, victory and pistol. So this is victory, this is pistol. Now interchange. Make the pistol victory and victory pistol. Make the victory pistol, pistol victory. Again problem. Victory bahar, andar nahi. Left and right brain are working. Okay, there are 20 plus exercises. We are going to show you 2-3 of them. The last one. So my left brain is saying forward and my right brain is saying backward. One hand forward, one hand backward. Both are going forward. Both are going backward, Kajal ma'am. One forward, one backward. Okay, right? So this is how we can work on like body के लिए मेरे को जरूरत है, but I'm very lazy on that. Body के लिए हम जिम जाने की बात करते हैं. This is yoga for the brain. We call it brain yoga, right? Okay, so ma'am, can I request you, 4 of you can put down any 20 simple objects. Just pen them down vertically 1 to 20. एक ही पेपर पे लिख सकते हो आप चारों मिलके. आप चारों मिलके एक ही पेपर में लिख सकते हो. Next time you can come on the stage. Okay, so how in the meantime, Kajal ma'am writes, I'll ask you, how important is the memory? Very important. We hardly use our brain these days. पहले ज़माने में अगर हमें कोई रिसर्च करनी थी, I remember we used to go to university library, 7-8 किताबें निकालते थे, रिसर्च करते थे, फिर अपने टॉपिक को लिखते थे. आज की डेट में it's a information age. One finger is enough. Google Baba, tuck, research paper on. Right? So we are not using our brains. Right? Okay, so memory, let me tell you, how many of you think you have a good memory? How many of you think you have a good memory? Very nice, sir. Okay, Varunji, okay. How many of you think you have a bad memory? Okay, ये average और बाकी average वाले जिन्होंने हाथ नहीं उठाया है ना? Okay, but let me tell you, there is no good or bad memory. It is a trained or untrained memory. So memory has 3 major pillars or elements. The first one is registration, जिसको हम बोलते हैं पंजीकरण हिंदी में. The registration, any information that we register in our brain, we register through our 5 senses. Either we see the information, we hear it, we touch it, we smell it, or we taste it, or combination of these senses. Right? That's the registration part. Second part is retention. Second R is retention. अवधारण जिसे हम बोलते हैं. Right? Now retention has 2 parts to it: conscious brain and subconscious brain. The rote learning we do it with the conscious brain. हमें पता है वो लिखा है पेपर पे, हम उसको बार बार पढ़ रहे हैं, बार बार बोल रहे हैं, बार बार लिख रहे हैं. as per the style Dr. Gautam talked about, right? And the second part is subconscious. So in the afternoon I was discussing on the table, everybody knows that subconscious brain is more powerful than conscious brain. Subconscious brain is 90%, conscious brain is 10%. But no education system, no school, no parents, no teacher talks about subconscious mind. Right? Because ऐसा कुछ curriculum में था ही नहीं बचपन से. Right? The good part is we are expertise onto it and we do that. Right? The subconscious is more powerful for retention. So we use subconscious for retention. And third is retrieval. That is recall. Right? Now retrieval is directly connected to your right brain. 4 दिन पहले क्या खाया क्या पहना नहीं याद. आज जो भी हम याद कर रहे हैं ना, क्या ड्रेस पहन के गए थे, आज से 3 महीने बाद भी याद रहेगा. किससे मिले थे, क्या खाया था, right? So any emotional day to you, right? Your birthday, anniversary, your children's birthday, your parents' birthday, right? You remember everything. Why? That's an emotional day to you. किसी भी मूवी का आपका फेवरेट मूवी का सॉन्ग कैसे याद आ जाता है आपको? Again, right brain, music, right? मैम आपके लिए, हमारे लिए नहीं, right? So music, right brain. So retrieval is connected to right brain. Now let me give you live demo how a trained memory can work. So Kajal man has penned down 20 objects. Meg and Chehek, I hope you have seen them in the Shark Tank also. This demo was done on Shark Tank also but was not shown because उसमें TRP कम था, blanket में TRP ज़्यादा था. So we are going to do it for you here. Normally अगर किसी बच्चे को ये 20 ऑब्जेक्ट याद करने हैं, कितना टाइम लगेगा? How much time? आधा घंटा, 15 मिनट, 10 मिनट, बार पढ़ेगा बच्चा. Mehak and Chehak are going to not even see this paper. They are going to just listen to it once. Listen to it once. एक माइक दे सकते हैं इनको please? Listen to it once and they will take 4 to 5 seconds per object. 20 objects, 100 seconds, less than 2 minutes. Once these 20 objects are over, you can ask anything from anywhere in any random thing. Before, after, odd, even, anything. Right? So, we'll start.
No need to read the numbers, I just have
1, 2, 3, 4. You can read 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Once they say yes, then we'll move to the next one. Yeah, number 1.
Number 1, key. 2.
Just a minute. They have to process in their brain, right brain.
Number 2, pen. Number 3.
1 second, ma'am, 1 second. They have to say yes. Then we'll move to.
Okay.
5 seconds देने.
ठीक है.
1 is
इससे
key.
start करूं?
Second is two.
Pen.
2 is pen. 1 is key. 2 is pen. Done. You have to show something.
3, pencil. 4, flower. 5, laptop. 6, book. 7, earring. 8,
Letter only. You will come up. 7 earrings.
8,
Book.
trophy. 9, certificate.
10, you have to thumbs up once you're done.
10, mobile. 11, watch. 12, ring. 13, bags. 14, button. 15, badge. 16, mic. 17, shoes. 18, table. 19, podium. 20,
Chair. Done?
Done. Okay. So you can ask any serial number or any object. If you ask of serial number, they'll tell you the object. If you ask the object, they can tell you the serial number, vice versa.
Watch.
16.
My.
Very
Correct.
good. Correct. 5.
Laptop. Correct.
Very good. Podium.
19. Correct.
Very good. Correct. Yeah. Yes.
20 was chair, and I also thought, I think somebody asked 13. 13 was bags.
Correct.
Okay. So let's cut it short. We have less time. So you'll say backward. So she'll say 1 to 10 forward. She'll say 20 to 11 backward.
1 key. 2 was pen. 3 pencil. 4 flowers. 5 laptop. 6 books. 8 trophy. 9 was certificate, and 10 was mobile.
Correct. Yes. So number 20 was chair, 19 podium, 18 table, 17 was shoes, 16 was mic, 15 was badge, 14 was buttons, 13 was bags, 12 was ring, and 11 was unbelievable.
And this is no magic. There are very simple techniques. Very simple technique of registration, retention, retrieval. No big rocket science, right? Okay. I have just 2 minutes. Are you interested to see blindfold, or you have seen it already? So that we should cut it off. Okay. So thank you so much. Please see us on Shark Tank episode 2, 21st December to see the blindfold. Now let me tell you, blindfold is no magic. Whatever you and me see with open eyes, to see with open eyes, you need light to pass through retina. Whatever you may see with open eyes, the brain of the participant can visualize the same. I am using the word visualize. There are a lot of books on visualization. The brain of the participant can visualize the same when participant concentrates. Now this is very important. When the participant concentrates on smell or touch as a sense, even the eyes are blindfolded. Right? So this is, the blindfold is just a testimony of concentration power that can be enhanced through these workshops. We have online and offline workshops. We are flexible to help, because even, Nayak sir was speaking to me, money is a byproduct for me, right? For us as a policy of the organization. It is adding value to people's life. Even in Shark Tank, it was asked to me, पैसा कैसे बनाओगे? मैं कहा सर पैसा तो पानी पूरी वाले बहुत बनाते हैं, मिठाई के दुकान वाले बहुत बनाते हैं, पर किसी की वैल्यू नहीं ऐड करते लाइफ में. They don't add any value to anybody's life. That's what we do, right? Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience hearing. Thank you so much. Thank you Nayak sir for giving us this time.
Thank you very much. We have a very wonderful session by Head and Heart. I think everyone might have noticed how these two children, a special round of applause for those two kids. Wonderfully you have done. I think this is something you have made everyone realize that mind really works very sharp. Friends, now for the most awaiting moment, that is for which there are a lot of categories you all might be knowing, and every educator is specialized in some of the other categories. So we had 7 to 8 categories. On the basis of these categories, we'll be honoring educators, edu-leaders. We are educators pan across. Let me now request 2 people on the dais. One from Amity University, Dr. Toshendra Dwivedi, to come on stage. Who will be distributing to come on stage, please, to distribute the prizes and honor to all the awardees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please have attention here and quickly march forward to the stage to receive your honor. I'll start up with the emotion of honor which goes to some of the people, those who have contributed today to organize this event successfully. We had 10 to 12 people in the afternoon session, and 10 to 12 people will be calling them now. The first one is the EdWeb Studio channel. I don't know whether they are present or not, but still you can please raise your hand and I will not wait. These are the people, those who have supported the organization, the foundation, the celebration, as we are here today to witness the Education Excellence Conclave. The second one, Eduron. Eduron, anyone from Eduron is available here. Please raise your hand. I'll request someone to come on stage to receive the honor.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Next to follow, your education dost. Your education dost, somebody from your education dost, please raise your hand. We'll move forward to Fun Kids India. Anyone from Fun Kids India? Yes, please. Next to follow the Master G. Master G app. Can I have the Master G app? Someone from Master G app. Next to follow Patanjali Private Limited. Anyone from Patanjali? Raise your hand, please. To be followed by Parenting ORB. The person from Parenting ORB, please come. Come fast. Parenting ORB. Next to follow Kiddo Learning. Kiddo Learning, any executive from Kiddo Learning? To be followed WSC, the Emerging Travel Company. Can we have? Next to follow, to empowering youth by free technical training given by Bridge Care Foundation. Bridge Care Foundation, who empowers youth for free technical training. Anyone from Bridge Care? No, thank you. Next we go to IBM Solutions Private Limited. Bridge Care is there? Okay. Bridge Care Foundation. Bridge Care Foundation. IBM Solutions Private Limited. Anyone from IBM? Please, IBM. Next, the best EdTech company of the year goes to Singhania Education Services Limited. Do we have the executive from Singhania Education Services Limited? Singhania Education Services Limited, do we have them? Please raise your hand. No, not available. Last, before we go to the leaders, Master G. Master G app, I think they have done a good job. Can I Now, here goes the icon award for the year 2022. May I have your attention, please? Everyone need to encourage each and every awardees. So I request now the first category is Iconic Leadership Award 2022. The first contestant and the awardee is Madam Anju Kumari, Principal, Sat Krishna Gyaneshwar School. Please, a big round of applause for Anju Kumari, the Principal from Sat Krishna Gyaneshwar School.
Good evening, everyone. To the world, it seems a simple terminology used to explain a relationship called as dad and father. But for me, it is the complete world. If you all dignitaries allowed, I'd like to accept this award, sharing the dice with my father. Papa, please, love you so much and thank you so much for always being a motivation and source of inspiration throughout all stages of my life. Thank you.
Gandhi, Principal, Bal Bharati Public School, Iconic Leadership Award for the year 2022. Please raise your hand if you are available. Madam Suruchi Gandhi. Next to follow, Monica Chawla, Principal, St. Joseph Senior Secondary School, Chandigarh. Can we have Madam Monica Chawla? Followed by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, Principal, Indus Public School, Korba, Chhattisgarh. Not available. We go to the next category of award, Outstanding Contribution in Education. Outstanding Contribution in Education, the first awardee is Uma Chandrakala. Uma Chandrakala, can we have? Please raise your hand. No. To be followed by Ritika Bhandari. Ritika Bhandari, Outstanding Contribution in Education from Guru Hari Krishna Public School. Next to follow, Madam Jeba Ayaz for the Outstanding Contribution in Education from Rabia Senior Secondary School. And we have a big round of applause for Jeba Ayaz. Next to follow, Dr. Renuka Singh Parmar. Dr. Renuka Singh Parmar, coordinator from GD Goenka International School, Surat. A big round of applause from Surat, Gujarat. Next to follow, Madam Sri Vidya Sukumar. Sri Vidya Sukumar, the education consultant for the Outstanding Contribution in Education. Is she available? No. Next, Madam Indu Verma, the principal from Lions Public School. Madam Indu Verma, receiving the Outstanding Contribution in Education Award for the year 2022. Indu Verma. Next, Dr. Amrita Vohra. Let me take the pleasure to invite Dr. Amrita Vohra, Director of Education from GEMS Education India and GEMS International School, Gurgaon, for her outstanding contribution in the field of education. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel honored to welcome now Mr. Mukesh Kumar Gupta, officiating principal from Suraj Bhan DAV Public School. Is he available here? Yes. Mr. Mukesh Kumar Gupta, officiating principal, will be receiving the outstanding contribution. Next to follow, Madam Mamta Sharma. I would like to request and invite Madam Mamta Sharma, Vice Principal, Saraswati Bal Mandir Senior Secondary School. Madam Mamta Sharma, Vice Principal from Saraswati Bal Mandir Senior Secondary School, will be receiving the Outstanding Contribution in Education Award 2022. Thank you, ma'am. The next to follow, Rima Tandon. Madam Rima Tandon from Kamal Public Senior Secondary School. Can we have Rima Tandon, madam? Are you available? Next. I'll invite Aarti Sailesh Mahan from Eurokids and Takshila International School. Can I have you? Please raise your hand if you are available. Next to follow, Asha Sharan Srivastav. Asha Sharan Srivastava from Jaspal Kaur Public School. Not available. Followed by Kanya Sachin Adhav. Kanya Sachin Adhav. Are you there? To be followed by Usha Malik. Madam Usha Malik. With honor, I welcome Madam Usha Malik from Happy Child, Principal from Happy Child International School for the outstanding contribution in education for the year 2022. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Sarah George Mutut. Do we have Dr. Sarah George Mutut in this? Yes. Acha, on behalf. Thank you. The last award from this category, Deepika Joshi, Director and Principal from Cosmic Foundation School and Counseling Center, Jaipur. EU Media and CED Foundation feel privileged to welcome Deepika Joshi for her outstanding contribution in education for the year 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the third category, that is Emerging Leader Award 2022. To begin with, Ritu Seth, Vice Principal from Gurugram Global Heights School. Ritu Seth, Gurugram Global Heights School, the Vice Principal, will be receiving the Emerging Leader Award for the year 2022. I would like to invite Seema Prabhakar, Principal, GEMS International School, for the Outstanding Emerging Leader Year Award for the year 2022. Can we have a big round of applause? I feel honored to invite Iftikhar Fahid, the principal from Narayana School, Bhubaneswar. Do we have Iftikhar Fahid? Please raise your hand, please. No. The next, I would like to invite Sekhar Kumar from Sri Vidya Mandir Education Institution. Yes. We have Sri Vidya Mandir Education Institution, Sekhar Kumar, the Emerging Leader Award for the year 2022. Thank you, sir. Let me take the privilege to invite Madam Shima Sharma, Supervisor in charge from DLDAV Model School, Pitampura. Yes, he is there, Madam. Madam Shima Sharma will be receiving the emerging leader for the year 2022. I would like to invite Madam Anjali Khabanda, the head of the school from NK Bagrodia Public School. Madam will be receiving the Emerging Leader Award for the year 2022. The next awardee, Karuna Manuja from Nalanda English Medium School, the principal of the school. Yes, ma'am. Madam Karuna Manuja, principal from Nalanda English, receiving the Emerging Leader Award for the year 2022. Next to follow, like to invite Prabha Gupta, principal from Vishwa Bharati Public School. Yes, she is there. Madam will be receiving the Emerging Leader Award for the year 2022. And I will be honoring Dr. Toshendra Dwivedi, the Senior Assistant Professor from Amity University, Noida. Left out one awardee's name in the Outstanding Contribution in Education Award, Meenakshi Bhatia. Meenakshi Bhatia from Darshan Academy. Is she here?
Yes.
Yes, please, ma'am. Meenakshi Bhatia will be receiving the Outstanding Contribution in Education Award for the year 2022. The next category, the fourth, Top School Principal Award. The Top School Principal Award, the first awardee, Dr. Sunita Swaraj, Principal from the Heritage School, Vasant Kunj. Is she available? Next, Bindu Gupta from Sehaj International School, Principal from Sehaj International School. Will be receiving the top school award. It's my privilege to welcome now Mukta, the principal from Mount Litera G School. Can we have
present?
Yes. Next to invite Dr. Krishna Shivhare. Dr. Krishna Shivhare, the principal from Mount Litera G School. It's my privilege to invite Veena Gaur, Madam Veena Gaur, Principal from Vidgar High School. Madam is there? Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Next awardee, I would like to invite Saji Varghese. Saji Varghese, the principal from St. Xavier's World School. Are you there, sir? Next to invite Nina Thimaya. Nina Thimaya, the principal from Swiss Cottage School. Do we have? No. Nima Thimaya? Yes. May I now request to come on stage Dr. Neeraj Vora. Dr. Neeraj Vora, principal from St. Frobel Senior Secondary School. Privileged to welcome Madam Jyoti Arora, Principal, Mount Abu Public School. I hope she is not there. Thank you. The next category award is the Outstanding Principal of the Year. Outstanding Principal of the Year goes to Mr. Upkar Goyal, Principal from Goyal Public School, Nagina, Uttar Pradesh. Do we have? I'll move to the next. Shilpa Bhatnagar, Principal from Bhatnagar International School. Do we have? Please raise your hand. Do we have? No. Next, Madam Rashmi Raj Biswal, Principal from DAV Public School. Madam Rashmi Lal Biswal, Principal, DAV Public School, will be receiving the outstanding 2022. May I request now Dr. Neelu Goswami, Principal from Ontogeny School of Excellence. Do we have, ma'am? I'd like to request now Madam Sanjana Bakshi Datta, Principal from DAV Public School. Do we have Sanjana Bakshi Datta? No. Can I request now Kavita Gaur, Principal from Manava Bhavana Public School. Are you there, ma'am? No? Yes. Kavita, yes, she is there. Kavita Gaur. Next to follow, I would like to request now Madam Supreet Kaur, Director Principal from Sai Board School, will be honored as the Outstanding Principal of the Year 2022. Ma'am, are you there? Yes.
There should be claps also. We move towards the next category, Innovative Principal of the Year. We have here 5 awardees. The first one, Alpana Bhaveja, the principal from Mount Olympus School. On behalf of Alpana Bhaveja. Next, Innovative Principal, Dr. Bhavna Chibbar, Principal from Lavarna Public School, Bhavna Chibbar. Can we have Madam Jyoti Bhalla? Madam Jyoti Bhalla, the principal from Manaskriti School, to receive the Innovative Principal of the Year. Jyoti Bhalla, ma'am, are you there? No? I would like to request Himlal Handu Bhatt, the principal from Hansraj Model School, Punjabi Bagh. Last awardee of this category, Dr. Vibha Kaushik. Dr. Vibha Kaushik, principal from SMS Memorial Public School. Principal will be receiving the Innovative Principal of the Year award.
The next category, excellence in instructional leadership. We have again 6 awardees here. Jaya Prakash, the first one from Muthoot Education. Can I request Jaya Prakash ji from Muthoot Education to receive the Excellence in Instructional Leadership Award. Privileged to announce Dr. Amita Saxena name Dr. Amita Saxena from JM International School, Dwarka, New Delhi. May I request now A. Shivkumar from Akshram International School, Coimbatore. Do we have? Yes. A. Shivkumar will be receiving the Excellence in Instructional Leadership Award for the year 2022. Please welcome Madam Hima Sharma, the principal from MIT World School, Moradabad. Can we have a round of applause for Madam Hima Sharma, who will be receiving the Excellence in Instructional Leadership Award for the year 2022.
On so many levels, you undo my daily life.
Can we have Dr. Sarah George? To receive the Excellence in Instructional Leadership Award? Last of this category, Saurav Raj Kashyap. Saurav Raj Kashyap will be receiving the Excellence in Instructional Leadership Award for the year 2022. Do we have? Saurav Raj Kashyap? The next category, the most updated principal of the year. The most updated principal of the year goes to 3 principal from India. Seema Bhel. Seema Bhel from the Brain International School will be receiving the most updated principal of the year. Can I request ma'am to come on stage? Can I request Dr. Kamal Bhamri? Can I request Dr. Kamal Bhamri? Can I have you here? Are you available? No. Next to follow Dr. Gaurav Sajjar. Gaurav Sajjar, the principal from Baba Sarvanath Senior College School. Category number 9, Experiential Learning Award, goes to 3 education leaders. The first one, Pooja Rani. Pooja Rani from Kameshwar International School, Gujarat. Is she available here? Moving forward, like to invite Sandeep Jain. Sandeep Jain. Mr. Sandeep Jain, yes. Director from Jain Public School, Ranganore, will be receiving the Experiential Learning Award. Sandeep Jain. On behalf of Sandeep Jain, the next and the last one from this category, Rashi Khanna, the founder CEO from Kaya Matlab Voice Network, will be receiving the Experiential Learning Award for the year 2022. Madam Rashi
In the club.
The next category is the Top Women Entrepreneurship Award in the Early Childhood Education. We have few more categories. Please wait for others also, so that they are waiting anxiously. Here, the Top Women Entrepreneurship Award in Early Childhood Education goes to Sheba Thapar. Sheba Thapar, the founder director from Sacred Step Experiential Learning School. Honor to invite Sonal Kathuria. The next category, Mental Health and Wellbeing Award, goes to 2 people. Professor Dr. Rupali Sharma. Professor Dr. Rupali Sharma from Amity University. Do we have Malka? Next award category, Innovative Director of the Year. There are 3 real directors of the school. The first one, Dr. C.B. Mishra, Director Principal from Prudence School. C.B. Mishra, Director Principal from Prudence School, will be honored as the Innovative Director of the Year 2022. Can we have a big round of applause for him? Next, Madam Tapti Chatterjee. Is it Tapati Chatterjee or Tapti Chatterjee is okay? Tapti Chatterjee. Tapti Chatterjee, Modern Public School, Executive Director from Modern Public School, will be receiving the Innovative Director of the Year 2022. Can we have Mr. Kanak Gupta from St. Emma Japuria School? Kanak Gupta ji is there? Next, Archana Arora from Mount Public School, in practical practices. Madam Alka Sahani from Maharaja Agrasen Public School will be receiving Innovation in Global Collaborative Learning. Alka Sahani, the principal from Maharaja Agrasen Public School. Next, would like to invite Dr. Shama Shwarankar, the co-founder from the online teaching E-Gurukul Excellence of Learning, will be receiving the Online Teaching Excellence Award. A.S. Rana, the principal from Sant Gyaneshwar Model School, will be receiving the Innovative and Creative Literacy Award. Do we have Mr. A.S. Rana? No. Let me take the privilege to invite Sunita Rai, the principal from PGS Beyond Gyanpur English School. Do we have Sunita Rai, ma'am? Yes. She will be receiving the Innovative Can I invite now Sonal Rawat, the principal from Indrapuram Public School, will be receiving Innovative Practices for Academic Excellence Award. We have last three award. We have last three school award, and those three schools are, the first one, St. George School. Do we have the St. George School who is receiving the Innovative Practices for Academic Excellence? Any staff, any member of St. George School? The second last award, Mount Olympus School receiving Innovation in Global Collaborative Learning. Both the directors of Mount Olympus School will be receiving the Innovation in Global Collaborative Learning Award for the year 2022. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, last award. The last award is Paul George Global School. Paul George Global School is receiving Excellent School in Sports Infrastructure. Congratulations to Paul George Global School for receiving the Excellent Infrastructure. That's all from the presentation ceremony, and that's all from the Education Excellence Conclave. Brings the end of this program. I think we all have enjoyed the entire day with a lot of sessions, and I believe that you all people are doing the field of education. Keep it up, this momentum, and in the year or in the days to come, you will have. In the years, in the days to come, we will have more laurels, more good work to happen. So dear friends, on behalf of the entire team of
EU Media as well as Center for Education Development Foundation congratulate all of you for your wonderful success and see you in our next conferences and next conclaves in India, outside India also we are planning to conduct. This is an announcement that this foundation has collaborated with EU Media, with Gagandeep, and have planned much more learning sessions in the days to come, not only in India, but we are planning the program. We have got invitation from the Ministry of Education from other countries. This is an announcement that we all love to have you all people in the coming programs, in the coming events, in the coming conference. Thank you very much. I request all of you, those who are available here, can I request everyone to come on stage. That the last is, you are taking photographs everywhere, so why not on the stage the photograph to happen.
So once again, thank you, and Priyadarshi sir, CED India Foundation and EU Media for giving us this opportunity, and congratulations to one and all for this wonderful value addition in your lives. Stay brimming, stay shining, and all the best. Our team spirit will take us further. We will meet another time. एक शेर आप लोगों के लिए है, उम्मीद ऐसी हो जो जीने को मजबूर करे, राह ऐसी हो जो चलने को मजबूर करे, महक कम न हो अपने दोस्ती की,